All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. How we doing today? Hopefully good. Hopefully everyone's doing good. I got a bit of a stuffy nose today. We'll see how that takes me. Talking a little more high pitched than I otherwise would. But yeah, hope everyone's doing good. Welcome. This is Raging Loop Part 13. Big Part 13. A lot of Raging Loop has been played. If you are here for the first time, for first time Raging Loop video, you might want to catch up on YouTube. Just because there's a lot that has happened, and we're really at a point where recapping is not a thing anymore. So much has happened, we can't really recap. And this is also just full-blown spoilers. If you have, if you don't want to be spoiled on the game, it's a pretty old game now, but if you don't want to be spoiled on the game, I highly recommend catching up on YouTube and clicking out. So hope everyone's doing well. I'm having a bit of a hectic week, but you know, we're stabilizing. Tomorrow's Thursday, one day away from Friday. Pretty excited. Speaking of days, schedule is here. Today is Raging Loop on Wednesday. We got tomorrow. I will be running a tournament. So moving forward in the future, every Tuesday and Thursday, I will be running a tournament, either at my local or online elsewhere. So I won't be able to do this stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays moving forward. Friday's going to be exciting. So I'm going to be playing DNF Duel, which I've gotten to play a little bit of in this week. And there's a tournament also at 8 p.m. Run by Serena Penguina. So definitely check her channel out if you haven't already. And yeah, DNF Duel will be played on Friday. Saturday, I'm either going to finish Raging Loop, if it's not already done. If it is done, I'm going to play another variety game, and I'm thinking that will be Omori, a very, very game that's near and dear to me. So I think we may start that run. And then Sunday is Guilty Gear Strive, just some sets and some ranked and stuff, just to keep myself sharp in that game. All right, so I think that's probably it for getting started. I guess if I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember where we were in Raging Loop. I think we were about to win on the third loop. I think we were about to win. We just hung Tai, I want to say, and we may have even hung one more after that. No, we hung Nosato, I believe. Yeah. So we're very close to winning as Wolves in the third loop. And everyone's pretty convinced there's a fourth loop. I'm also convinced there's a fourth loop. So maybe we'll be able to get through that one tonight. So let me go ahead and boot up. Okay, English. Okay. Man, it's been a while since I booted up DNF. Or not DNF. Sorry. It's been a while since I booted up Raging Loop. Let's see. So we are here. Okay, my voice acting might be a little scuffed. I have a bit of a stuffy nose and a sore throat, like I said. So my voice acting might be a bit scuffed. I'm not sure they would hide it somewhere so obvious. What do you think? I think it's important to show that we're willing to search. So they're talking about the gun that Chiame used to kill herself here. Let's do it. Fine by me. Wait, how are they talking? Oh, right. Okay, that was a flashback. Sorry. But after we hanged the old wolf guy, everyone had forgotten about the gun. I was actually curious about it too. Honestly, if I had to guess, I'd say that Great Lord Shinai cleaned it up, just like he did with the wolf outfit. But it would be bad for us if Mochi or someone else got their hands on it. I'd gotten this far. I really didn't want to die to a goddamn gunshot right before the finish line. Yes, it's dangerous to just leave it. We should look through everyone's houses, whether they're alive or not. It'll be in one of your rooms, won't it? Just so you know, it's not clear whether a wolf actually took it. What's up, beefy manatee? Kyo? If you ask me, you're not free of suspicion yourself. Alright, sorry. Let's stop wasting time on that shit. Good. We don't have much time though. Oh, he looks like he looks like Kyo. That's funny. Mochi, Yoshitsugu-kun and I should be enough to finish cleaning up Hashimoto-san's remains in time. You should give a look to all of them, even if it's brief. If it's not enough, we can look around more thoroughly tomorrow. That is true. It will take time, after all. Why not start with the men's places first? Oh, perverts. Don't mess around at a time like this, Kamoshida. I don't care. I ain't hiding anything. I don't want to do that. You men can have the men's rooms. We'll check out the ladies. It'd be best to look around as a group given the situation, but that'll work for now. Very well. We will begin by looking at things left behind by the women. Fine by me. Let's go then. Yes, it pains me to have you do this yourselves, but please. The cleanup was unexpectedly easy. Of course it was. We'd cut him up into smaller pieces to make it easy. After 4 trips of putting his remains in a door and carrying it to Saranaga, all of him was in there. We also threw in the bloody futon and the cloths that we used to wipe. After we washed our hands, we were done, so we went to join the girls in searching for the gun. They were all in the dorm. Haruchan's room. Their faces were completely frozen. What had happened? After a moment, I realized, no way, a mistake. A mistake like this? Mamiya-san was holding a new dark flashlight. Uh-oh. It's really new. Foreign made. Well designed, too. It must cost around 5,000 yen. There's still batteries inside, but also foreign and look like the ones that come with the flashlight. Why would anyone need this on nights when they have to shelter? Hisako Mamiya's face was soon wrapped by a look of victorious, decisive rage. Why would a girl that barely gets any allowance have something like this? I looked and noticed that Rikaku Imatsu's face was full of contempt and mercy. Who brought this outside the village and gave it to her? Haru Makishima's face was pale with fear, despair, and the realization of her failure. Haruaki Fusaishi, Haru Makishima. Do you have any excuses? I had to think. There had to be something. Haruchan's face might have said it all, but I had to be able to explain and let us both get through this. There had to. Crap. All the lies I could think of would only let one of us survive. Me. Oh well, it'd be pretty forced, but I had to turn the flashlight into a personal gift from me to her. She said she liked science fiction movies, and I happen to have 2 flashlights. Oh brother, don't do this. This is a dead giveaway. It completely ignored the foundation that stated that everyone else would know about this if we talked about it at night. But I could force this and make them believe. A few seconds passed, but I was still in the safe zone. That's a... Shut up. Oos. I blacked out for a moment and fell to the floor. A dull impact slammed into my face just now. What are you doing? Don't let this asshole talk. Of course I wasn't in the safe zone. The Feast of the Yomi Purge was a game of communication, but it didn't forbid violence. So, some got the upper hand by communicating using only words, while those who couldn't would naturally try getting their point across through other means. I'd underestimated that fact. Yoshitsugu Uribe's violence quickly neutralized me. Head, back, arms, the leg, still hurting from the sprain. Chair, sticks, he used whatever he could to get his hands on and beat me senseless. I couldn't resist in any meaningful way. He was well trained and had the motivation, the bloodlust to go with the violence. It continued until Rikako-san brought a rope. My conscience was faint, but I hadn't lost it yet. By the end, I just meekly begged for him to stop. I might have even cried, but I was shown no mercy. Before I knew it, it was dark. I seemed to be in the prefab. In the end, I didn't know what was what, so I probably lost consciousness. The wolf outfit was right next to me. Time for work, eh? I could move. Somehow. A bit of wiggling around, and I felt something fall off of me. The rope tied around me had been torn and undone. Moving around caused me pain so immense that I couldn't even moan anymore. Even thinking was a challenge. I couldn't do anything like this. The clothing was right there, but I couldn't wear it, get up, or walk. Oh, they'd beat me to a pulp to see whether someone would die with me like this. So there really wasn't any need to remove limbs, huh? A good beating was more than enough to incapacitate a person for the night. They'd probably done the same to Haru-chan. We were checkmated. Oh well, this was just a careless mistake. Those sort of happen. I just wouldn't give Haru-chan the flashlight next time. So she could have easily gotten this far without it. That is wrong, villain. I heard a voice right next to me. Fighting the pain, I turned to the source and saw her, wearing that weird outfit. So you do not understand just how happy she was when you gave her that gift? Surely you know that women are animals who enjoy tribute. Damn. The god talking some incel shit. Without it, she would have still been treating you like a stranger. Then, it was a hoarse voice. They must have hurt her throat. Then, next time, I'll bring her something consumable. Like maybe some sweets. It would do you no good. This is simply the natural result of drawing too much suspicion. A single hair from the filthy wolf hide resulted in the same outcome. Surely you know by now that humans are predictable creatures. I shall not call this fate. However, it is merely that similar circumstances prompt similar actions. Humans are more like machine than you would expect. She had a point. A different situation would cause a different reaction. That was only natural. On the other hand, a similar situation would cause similar reactions. Are you saying that my death here is inevitable? Why is our death inevitable? Hold on. If they tied us up and someone still dies tonight, how does that make us clear? Doesn't that actually drop suspicion from us? What up, Aura? Oh my. I have said nothing of your death, villain. Let us journey to the Misty Mountain. Misty Mountain? This will be our final tryst. I took her hand and, strangely enough, managed to stand up. She got me in wolf's clothing, some water all over it, and the murderer was assembled. She then took me by the hand and led me into the darkness and the mist. Why am I alive? Also, why is Haru-chan okay? Okay. She was beaten senseless. She simply didn't look as villainous as you. There's nothing more to it. Good point. I acted the good guy and lied to them with every breath. The only reason you and the girl are alive is because they were afraid that the corruption would take them if they killed you. Who pointed that out? The one who likes this girl. So that's Mochi. Yeah. Mochika. He'd probably said that just to keep her alive a bit longer. Now, who will you kill? Yoshitsugu Uribe. The crow? If we let him live, he'd find out that Nosato was a human. Good. Struggle. It suits a villain like yourself. What a mean thing to say. Are humans that comical to you? Yeah, so, Aura, they found the flashlight in Haru's room, and then all of it kind of went to shit. All beasts try to live proudly. To me, all of their attempts are worthy of affection. Beasts, huh? Yeah, I really was an insane villain. A wolf. Then, I would just struggle until the very end. I killed Yoshitsugu Oribe. I had mustered some fighting spirit and hatred for what he had done to me. I hit on the head, and another one, and another one, and another one. Once I was done, Haru-chan applauded. That wasn't because I was doing the right thing from the perspective of the real story. The applause was directed at me. To me. As a person. It almost made me cry. I'd been thrown in such an awful situation and become one of the worst human beings imaginable. Truth, brother. Yet I still had someone who acknowledged and accepted me. I had God. I appreciated that she was here. I was lying on some grass, looking up at the milky darkness. Strangely enough, there were no beasts here in the graveyard, near the hanging pine. I see you overdid it, villain. Or should I call you Haraki Dono? It had to be because of her. Villain is fine. Anyway, it all worked out. Tomorrow we'll reveal what we are. We'll then bring Mako to our side and win this. And what will you do once the mist has cleared? I considered giving a vague response, but I knew it was pointless with her. I'll take Haru-chan, and we'll leave this place. What an interesting man you are. Why? Do you really believe Great Lord Shinai would let you escape? Great Lord Shinai? Not the third god? Oh yes, have you become so prideful that you underestimated that god? No. I'm within the palm of Great Lord Shinai's hand. I thought I was the exception here. You have fallen and risen far too many times, I see. That is the only reason you believe that. I make my own rules. Oh yes, you did. Perhaps you will be able to do something about the snake's dogs. The snake's dogs? That sounds like a pain. Still, I'll do it. For this girl? Or perhaps for me? Taking you both outside sounds like a good time. You truly are a villain. You've left many a woman in tears, I assume. Oh, now this is something. I wonder what she meant by that, but then I'd realized that I'd been had again. Telepathy was some messed up shit. That's an invasion of privacy, pervy god. What an uncouth man you are. What are you planning on doing tomorrow? Haru-chan and I will reveal that we're the wolves, like Yasunaga-kun had already done the first time. Then, we'd take Mako to our side. Mako's anger was probably the kind you direct at someone close to you. It was just a bit too strong. Like the real story said, she believed that the wolves were good and humans were evil. It wasn't born out of Yasumizu's madness, but of childish purity. Thus, she assumed that Rikaku-san and I were evil, and felt betrayed. If I revealed that I was a wolf, she'd gladly join me. Most likely. With that, we'd have 3 votes and wouldn't be lynchable anymore. There was a chance that it could turn physical then, but I'd just neutralized Yoshitsugu-kun, the one most likely to get physical. Our victory was certain. And that would not go well. Wait, you know? I do. Okay, I guess. Yeah, why was real story in quotes? That's a great question. I think we gotta try it, right? I think we try it. Probably get a key. Even so, I will persist in victory with the methods that I devised. Ahaha, I see. To be human is to desire death. Out of all those with set destinies, only humans are eager to die. There are animals who die for their children. You have merely chosen death, manipulated by inevitable fate, like you would by a god. You don't know why, but you wish to die, for no reason. But sometimes, humans take pleasure in receiving avoidable deaths they did not wish for. Am I being called out? Mod check? Does she know that I just picked this because I thought we'd probably die? That is exactly what makes you so lovable, villain. Watching you die, rise again, and greeting you again at that time shall serve as entertainment for me in this transient world. She was merely referencing my own preserved memories. It wasn't like she retained them the way I do. Then again, I wasn't confident if I preserved my own will, or rather the continuity of my soul, between loops. As long as Yasumizu or Fujiyoshi was around, she would continue to exist. No, would even God disappear if I looped back? It was okay. My death wasn't set in stone. Yes, it's best to look at it that way. Will you be going back now? Yeah. Oh. Whatever is that? I instinctively looked away. She literally hit me with the look over there and felt a warm sensation on the back of my neck. Ooh. Feeling better now? The pain in my body faded. Was that you? Well, was it now? Miracles can happen. If you are aware of how tomorrow will go, then this fun night and your end will be a good time. This is farewell, city dweller. Return before the dogs come. Huh. She faded into the mist. I felt a slight stickiness on my neck. It was her tongue, or rather, her lips. Feeling jacked up from a kiss with a girl. What am I, a middle schooler? Thus, I trivialized the situation and returned to the prefab. Next day. Armed with an old hoe, I walked through the morning mist. I met with Haru-chan before the feast. She walked with me side by side, carrying a sickle. She understood what we were going to do without me even having to say so. Good morning. Good morning. But by exchanging these words, we confirmed that we were human and evil. It was a declaration that we may have borrowed that impudence god power to get this far, yet we were traveling down the path of villainy, not the road God had provided us. This is... Eh? Weren't you all tied up? I see. So it really was the Okami-sama. Those words clearly indicated not at the wolves in the Feast of the Yomi Purge, but rather the paranormal entities who lent their power to them. After all, we'd untied ourselves. After all, Yoshitsugu Ribe was dead. After all, we'd been heavily wounded, and here we were, wielding weapons. Good eye. A declaration of parting. Mako stared wide-eyed at us. Though she didn't understand, she could guess that on our side of the invisible boundary between us were blood-stained wolves. Go ahead, Haru-chan. In the end, it was fitting. We are... that she should be the one to declare our victory. This is so smart. Where are the wolves? Huh? We were the wolves. Indeed. We were the wolves who threatened Yasumizu. Wait, this was... Oh, so that was it. What are you saying? We're the wolves here. I'm telling you. That's our line. We've been slaughtering the impure humans. Yomibito must be returned to Yomi. So, come here, Mako. That was so smart. Don't listen to her, Mako. We're the real wolves. This is smart. The humans declared themselves to be the wolves. I never expected this strategy. Humans don't lie, so there would be no point in declaring oneself a wolf. This was a blind spot born from that belief. It was clear as day who the badger was at this time, so I thought we could always get an extra vote. But in hindsight, the same applied to the humans as well. Yeah, this is mad smart. In that case, why not tell us exactly how you killed Takumi-ni, Ni-chan, Yoshi-kun, And the big man. Haruchan, realizing the situation, tried to counterattack. Unlike all our efforts so far, we were seeking proof not that we were innocent, but guilty. I was so excited, I don't even remember. That's bullshit, and you know it. Indeed, it was bullshit. Anyone could tell who the real wolves were here, so long as they were an adult. Wait, who are the wolves? Who are the good wolves? A little girl who'd spent nearly the entire feast staring off into space, only speaking up to give her votes, wouldn't possibly be able to tell. Mako-chan, it's us. Yeah, it's us. You're so persistent. It's us. Mako, let us sing together. Oh, this is broken. I can finally tell you, Mako. I wanted to tell you I was on your side from the very start. No. Don't listen to her, Mako. Excuse me. Get over here already, you dumb brat. Mako walked over to Rikako-san. Now, let's vote. Amazing. I never thought of a trick like that. Actually, I'm a wolf too. You said you were the monkey this whole time. Oh, right, yeah, well, the eccentricity in me wants to be on the wolf side. Sorry, Haru-chan. I'll make sure it doesn't hurt too bad. Can't say the same for Hassan, though. Oh, but it could be interesting if Haru-chan tries to kill me tonight. Okay, then. I vote for Hassan. I'm voting for Mamiya-san. I shall vote for Haruaki Fusaishi. I'm voting for Fusayuki-san. You were lying this whole time. You toyed with everyone. Then I'll vote for Mamiya-san. Oh boy. Yudai Hashimoto gave you this idea, didn't he? Unfortunately, that's exactly it. Though I must say, earning your hatred is quite the achievement. What do we do now, Haru-chan? Go nuts? Whatever puts you at ease. Oh, don't think we didn't come prepared. Hisaku Mamiya, Reiko Uematsu, and Chikamocho Kamoshida all took out sharp objects they were hiding and pointed them directly at us. But you're not that kind of person. Is that your journalist intuition talking? Women's intuition. I know a scoundrel when I see one. Yeah, I mean, you gotta go for it, right? She had us beat. I threw aside my weapon. What happened next was hardly worth talking about. I was hanged and died. Did God see this future? Then how had she planned to avoid this? The question seemed to fade into the mist, along with my consciousness. Oh, so this is the first time we died to hanging. I think. Maybe not. No need to watch the hint corner. All just a dream. Yeah, I mean, we figured that would happen, right? So, is what it is. Rise not don't mean shit? Yeah, I guess not. Alright, what should we do? Well then, what should we do? This. Os. I thought I'd gotten used to pain by now, but I was oh so wrong. Where'd she get that branch? I wanted to ask that, but I wasn't in a state to do it, for I was already defenselessly lying in the grass. I felt my limp body get dragged. Another thing. This is fine. This is fine. I heard her whisper that over and over and over again. The next morning, I woke up in a lot less pain. Though I couldn't even tell if I'd actually woken up. My consciousness was far too vague. Last night, I'd gotten beat up so badly, I couldn't even stand. None of my wounds were life-threatening, but that was why my body was sensitive to every injury, sending pain signals to my brain. I felt like I'd just recovered from paralysis. This was normal. The fact that I could walk around at night was the anomaly. My body had been bound once more. Had Great Lord Shinai actually tied me up again? Had he restored the torn ropes or something? No. It was tied differently and over a different spot. This was a different rope put on me sometime later. Also, the knots seemed kind of clumsy. It was Haru-chan. She was using me for something. Can you stand? Haruaki Fusaishi. She'd entered like it was no big deal. They'd confiscated my key, apparently. Ah. What? Why? I couldn't force my voice into words. It's fine. I'll just drag you. She was curt with me. However, I could tell from her voice and actions that she was perplexed by something. She actually dragged me, still bound, down the hill and into the plaza, leaving me even more beat up. It was hard to get me up the steps into the hall, though. She kicked me up in frustration and somehow crawled up. Everyone was already there. Rikako, Meiko, Chikamochi, and... I see you have arrived. City dwellers. Whoa. It's about to go down. What? It was morning, and yet she was... What? What's going on here? She directed that shout at me, but it was clear who the source of her confusion was. Why the wailing? Excuse me. Why the wailing, city lady? Do not tell me that you did not know of the nature of this village. One-chan, you're weird. Uematsu-san, can you explain? Harumakashima's ama has been in this state before. What? Possessed by a wolf. Huh? Yes, that would be me. Oh dear me. Yomi was so boring that I badgered father and mother to use the mist to rise back up again. But father was sent back soon after we began, and mother also returned. Well, it was an amusing diversion. Humans. Children of Great Lord Shinai. I am satisfied with all the killing that I did. What is this? Is this what the wolves really are? The humans had killed the wolves. They rise again from Saranaga to have their revenge. I'm not talking about the story. The eccentricity? Yes, that's what the feast is supposed to be, isn't it? It's just a serial killing, isn't it? I might find this event surprising, but I do not find it especially outlandish. Seriously? Kamoshida-kun? I don't know. Ri-chan, wasn't she supposedly cured? Normally, yes, but possession by the wolf is too much, even for the spider. The bedroom woman servant stands no chance against Great Lord Shinai's prime guardian, the Lord of the Hunt. I don't really get it, but was she gonna end up a wolf ever since she became like this, all those years ago? I do not know. All those years ago? Indeed. Indeed. When I was hanged 8 years ago, as I journeyed back to Yomi, I found this girl wandering in the mist and took her as my vessel. But then the mist returned and the feast ended with it. So I waited for the next feast. Ooh, lore? This is the same wolf that was in another person's body in a previous feast? What is it, city dweller? I cannot understand you if you are speaking so quietly. Lies. You are no wolf. You weren't destined to get the wolf's blessing. You already knew the real story. You knew exactly what I wanted to say. Why was she tilting her head and smiling? No, I knew her intention. Now. This feast has become quite lonely. But I couldn't understand it. So why not hang me? Why would she go this far? What do we do? What can we do? When we found Harumakashima, she was unbound. That had to be possible for the old Kami-sama. Even locks mean nothing to them, after all. Then why hasn't he moved? He's the one who said that Haru Makishima was a human and gave her the flashlight. He's supposed to be the wolf, right? That is what you said, Mamiya-sama. How else do you explain it? But why did he have to lie? Yoshitsugu Ribe attacked him before he could give his reason. But you didn't stop him either. Yes, I will stop scolding you for what happened yesterday. However, no matter how disgraceful, you must right your own wrongs. Fusaishi-sama, it must hurt, but please, tell us the truth. I'm not a wolf. Say it clearly. I'm Fridge. I'm not a wolf. I'm the snake. I'm the snake. I fell for Haru-chan, so... Whoa, bro. I fell for Haru-chan, so I lied. I was really conflicted. I wanted only Haru-chan to win, so I got rid of the other wolves. You found 2 wolves, gained trust as the snake, while sheltering the last wolf? You wanted you and her to be the last survivors, even if it meant betraying the humans? Nodded. But the Haru Makishima you loved appears to be gone. I have consumed her mind. I wanted to shed tears, because I actually felt like crying. Lastly, why did you give that device to Haru Makishima-sama? She said she liked it. What it did, you know, so I just gave it to her. I wanted to get closer to her. My chest hurt. My chest hurt like hell. It created a ray of light in the evening mist. A curious diversion, city dweller. I could easily lie. The pain in my chest was just from my wounds. Did you hear that? Haruaki-sama was a snake who gave gifts and betrayed the humans out of affection. And Haru Makishima-sama was the last wolf. We must vote. Wait a minute. Is that even possible? That seems like it would be a bad joke. Haruaki Fusaishi-sama is not from Yasumizu. It would not be surprising if his affection came before his mission. Kamoshida-sama. Haru-chan, are you sure you want this? What do you mean? Then, I'll vote for Haru-chan. 1 for the city dweller. 1 for Haru Makishima. Fusayuki-san, of course. Fusaishi-sama, can you vote? Painful. I had to talk. I was the one who decided to be evil. I had to play the villain until the bitter end. No need to say it. The result won't change. Fusaishi-kun, sorry. I won't apologize. I pity for you, but you're too much of a menace. 1 for Haru Makishima. That's 3 votes. He can't turn it around no matter who he votes for. He could vote for himself. We must hang her. Fuck. And now we sing. I believe this is my final look at this place. The funeral was, different. The wolf was cheerful. With a spring in her step, she went to the front of the group as if she was excited for what would happen at the hanging pine. I was walking at the very end, supported by Rikako-san. Clearly, it was an act of repentance. This is weird. I don't quite know what's going on. What? Must I sing alone? Eh. This is weird. Basically, everyone was uneasy. Of course they would be. They were dealing with an actual god. Oh, you're trying. Damn, this guy is down galactic. Thus, she nice. I had to sing, even if I was the only one. How pleasing. That was only the kind of atonement I could make here. I have tied the rope. Can I jump? Oh, Kami-sama. What is it? Priestess of the spider. Why must you rise up every now and again? To punish the humans and the guardians? Oh, excuse me. I see. So you're all still afraid of that. How pitiable. How lovable. You know, I think I might cry. I shall tell you. We rise up. Because that is how we live. Losing her words, Rikako-san bowed a little and backed away. I believe this is it. Everyone backed away. You have endured this well. She was just a bit too incomprehensible. Thus, the end has come. And more than that, her back actually looked divine. I shall excuse myself. She took a step toward the cliff. Haru-chan. Before I knew it, I was the one closest to her. My body and mind were so numb that I couldn't move forward or back. All I could do was call out to her. She'd stopped. I had nothing I could say. That was when the cloth on her face fell away. Oh my god. Wait. This is Haru taking over for the god. This is Haru maintaining control and sacrificing herself. How uncool. With that, she jumped towards me and kissed my ear. And just like that, she turned around and ran. No, I was the uncool one here. I half expected this to happen. I'd seen the signs, and yet I still let her do it. No, that was wrong too. She'd lived the way she wanted, just like I'd asked. She'd ignored what others thought, and gave both her mind and body to sacrifice, the unparalleled vice. Was I supposed to be some sort of teacher warning her against it and setting her on her proper path? No. In the end, I was just regretful that I'd broken the rules I'd established. It should have been the other way around. It wasn't supposed to be me. She should have been the villain among villains who betrayed and sacrificed her comrade to move on. She was consumed by the mist. And that was that. How passionate. Now, if only that wasn't the reason why I almost died. Maybe I wouldn't be so angry. I'm sorry. Mamiya-san closed in on the cliff. Come here for a second. Everyone did as she said. Then she dragged the rope up. It was supposed to have Haru-chan's weight on it, yet she could reel it in without any trouble. What? Huh? Did she escape? In a panic, she quickly brought the long rope back up. Soon enough, we all saw the end. Everyone fell silent. Oh my goodness. The noose was covered in fresh blood. Haru Makishima's slender neck had been torn the moment the rope went taut. Jeez. I had no idea what happened next. How I left the graveyard, what the others were doing. The pain and difficulty breathing was just too much at this point. Was I conscious? If so, why couldn't I feel anything? If not, was I asleep? Or had I fainted? I couldn't tell. My whole body felt heavy, and I was in pain. Feeling completely crushed, I had a nightmare where I was surrounded by countless smiling Haru heads. A dream could only mean that I was sleeping. Before I knew it, the pain had vanished, leaving me to suffer only the regret and the sadness. I opened my eyes. Where was I? It looked like a poorly made hut. Right next to me, I saw Rikako-san. Huh? Rikako-san? Huh? My body was all right. Ah! Do not push yourself. I only hurt because I'd been lying on a hard floor. The wounds were gone, though. What a relief. It seems to have worked. Did you do something? I took in your wounds and your pain. That had to be a joke. Is there anything the Uematsu's superpower couldn't do? Thank you. I wanted to prioritize gratitude before shock, but then I saw the filthy blood in a bucket by her side. Shocked, I assume? This is a little trick we, Uematsu girls know. Well, that's certainly strange. Is it? I simply absorb whatever is negative. It's not all powerful. For one, you were writhing just now. That was because of the dream, not any wound. Are you okay, though? Yes. Uematsu girls are raised to be used to drawing blood for this trick. If you are well, then please, return to your room. Oh, sorry. I almost forgot. I was a lying snake, the worst possible guardian receiver who'd almost destroyed the humans. There is, no time for that. What time is it? I have no clock, but it is the evening. I finally realized that my surroundings were tinted orange. Alright, I know I can't thank you enough, so I will just take my leave. Fusaishi-sama. She called out to me, but I didn't turn around. I hold no grudge to you. I cannot blame a human who felt something for a wolf. A man from the city who was not born here and was not used to Yasumizu yet. Did not belong in the feast in the first place. She hadn't changed at all. Do not let it torment you. In the end, you mustered your courage and revealed it. Because of that, we were able to hang all of the wolves. Good night. Monka W. I was afraid of hearing her emotionless voice say anything more. Fusayuki-san. She stood outside the room, but I ignored her. Hassan. Someone called out to me from the mist. There's something I want to tell you. See you tomorrow. And then he left. Weird. I returned to the prefab. Slept. Woke up. Changed into the wolf outfit. And killed Hisako Mamiya. Get her ass. All by myself. Jeez. Tuesday. 5 in the morning. I had no idea if I was just used to this or if the Uematsu's treatment was just that good, but I woke up feeling decidedly neutral. No drowsiness, no fatigue. Not even the pleasant feeling you got when you stretched to shake off the weight of sleep. We all arrived at the plaza at the same time. Haruaki Fusaishi, Rikaku Uematsu, Meiko, and Shikamochi Kamoshida. Strangely enough, I didn't think this was a coincidence. I felt like we had agreed to gather here at the same time. And everyone noticed that someone was no longer with us. Hisako Mamiya-san is gone. The feast was not over yet. In other words, there is still a wolf among us. Fusayuki-san, what's happening? Meiko-chan, I'm actually a wolf. Really? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, really. Really? Honto no hon? Really. I haven't been more honest since I came to Yasumizu. The next moment, Meiko clung to me. Meh. Sorry for not telling you. I was so scared. So scared. I thought you were Yomi something. Yeah, I'm sorry. I patted her back and had her hide behind me. 2 votes. A real perfect split. It appears that I may have let my emotions get the better of me. In the Feast of the Yomi Purge, that is a fatal mistake. I was fooled by Mako's innocence, your sociability, and Haru Makishima-san's lies. I suspected, yet I let myself to be fooled. We, the humans, have lost. I will spend my final moments praying to Shinai-sama. Please call me when I must be hanged. Goodbye. Having said all she had to say, she left, not turning around once. Aw, man. Richan gave up. You won't? I never cared about who won or lost the feast once, from the moment it started. If I did, I'd still be the Nosato heir apparent. That's a good point. Hassan? Die. No. Meiko-chan. You know he's gonna kill you tomorrow, right? Really? I won't. Bad human. I won't believe you. I see. I see. Why'd you let Haru-chan die? Honestly, I really didn't care if I died in the feast as long as Haru-chan survived until the end. I mean, she was basically gonna kill all the people that bothered her and just run away. How cool is that? I wouldn't mind dying as I saw that happen. Hell, I was actually looking forward to it. Give me back my excitement. Hassan, you knew, didn't you? About Haru-chan's fake disease, I mean. Yeah. This is our secret, and no one else's. And it probably doesn't have anything to do with the feast. I knew it. That was... God was something that she had created. You knew about the clothing too, right? Yeah. I mean, the 3 of us made it back in elementary school. She grew out of it though, so she should really make a new outfit. It's kind of pervy. Yeah, you can say that again. I'd expected something like that. This is fine. If she'd come back to her senses at least once back then, she'd never have tolerated her apparel. When I was hanged 8 years ago, I journeyed back to Yomi. I found this girl wandering in the mist and took her as my vessel. So this is fake? If God was actually the primary personality, it had never taken my side back then. She'd have never played along with Haru-chan's desire to save me by sacrificing herself. Basically, she could always switch between God and Haru Makishima. The strange powers displayed by Haru Makishima were either powers she'd already had, or just products of her imagination. A fabrication. The mind-reading thing was just a product of her delusions. It just happened that she'd gotten things right. I don't know about that. That was the only possibility. Haru-chan switched to you. She knew that Yasun still liked Chiene, so she switched to you. You're just saying whatever you want now. I'd been with her since forever. Trust me. I know what she's like. You? A person who's uninterested in others? You're such a bully. Though, yeah, Haru-chan happened to become a wolf and switched from hating you to... liking you? Or was it something else? Something more special? I don't really know, but that was probably it, right? He truly had a talent for finding the truth without comprehending it. All the more then. What are you gonna do to make it up to her? Nothing. Wow. Damn. How about you make yourself clear instead? What do you mean? If you didn't vote for Haru-chan, she might have been able to survive. Even so, you voted for her. How you look at others is oftentimes a twisted reflection of your own feelings. You sure you didn't kill her because you were angry that she didn't choose you? Oh. Oh, I see. So that's how it works. Hassan, what if I thought the old Haru-chan was gone, and so I decided to break her myself? Would that be eccentric? Nope. That's the normal, everyday feeling called jealousy. I see. So I was jealous. I can't say I actually know what you thought and felt. Your talk is hard. Adults have to act normal even when there's hard or bad things around, Mako. Adults have it hard. He's just saying whatever now. I feel sad for you, Mako-chan. I was telling the truth, though. So, what now? Want a feast? I'd lose that, wouldn't I? Mako-chan. Want to beat him up? Yeah! Whoa! Herder? Mochi? It's a yes. Hassan? Want to make a bet? Sure, what kind? Rock, paper, scissors. The loser dies. Now that's straightforward. Good though, right? I'm down. Sen-no. He put up his thumb and stuck out his index finger, creating a finger gun. The unbeatable hand. I, on the other hand, took out... Okay. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. Well, if I can't win against that. Thanks for playing, fucko. Oh my god. Mochi, sketchy bets were my thing. Not even a genius like you could win against an adult villain. Holy shit. Sorry, Mako-chan, did that surprise you? No, we beat the bad human. He said, Ayo. Whoa. Man, what kind of upbringing did this girl have? So, you're gonna do that to One-chan too? Not today. Tomorrow? Yes. And me? The necessity to kill Mako. That case seemed likely. God had said that there were 3 gods. One was the great Lord Shinai. One was the old god who had the unfavorable name Mujina, Badger, forced on it. And the last one was my enemy. If God lived with man, then perhaps if I killed Mako, who hadn't died once, I could escape this endless misty hell for all I knew. But I didn't want to kill her. That'd be crossing a line, even for me. Subconscious or not, I'd set a line for myself, and I didn't want anyone to change that. Oh my god. You came so far. Yet, you are still off the mark, villain. Bruh. I tried to turn around, but I couldn't. The thing behind me was so scary, I couldn't turn around. How many times will I have to say it until you understand? God is a lot worse than you imagine. Did you truly believe that a god would fall alongside the Fujiyoshi girl it used as a vessel? What is God? Oh my god. It is something humans can never kill. How can you kill a god? I turned around. Bah? It was Mako, same as always. I couldn't believe that she was just laughing out loud. Fusayuki-san, your face is very white. Yeah, maybe. Are you okay? Yeah, I think I need some water. I'll go to the bathroom. Yeah, there's no shot that was all Haru. The dining hall felt like it had been abandoned 10 years ago. Even so, water was still running. I wasn't all that thirsty, but it could make me feel better, so I cupped some water into my palm. Oh my god. I jumped back, getting water all around me. Just now, on the surface of the water in my hands, there was a mirror above the sink. I looked right at it. You cannot escape God. That is what Chiemi said too. So why not try joining me? My land may be small, but I will make sure you are not bored. You will get to kill, swindle, violate to your heart's content. The mountain shall become holy once more. If you find a fitting girl, you can even have her bear your children. What did you do to me? If you do not understand, then be silent and offer yourself to God. It seems like the time has come. Villain, this world will be quite interesting. I cannot wait to see how well your evil lasts, and... Fusayuki-san? I shook my head, chasing away the thing, the delusion, clinging to my head. What is it? Huh? What is that? Her voice was shaking. Did she see a spider or something? I followed her outside. Oh God. How many keys is that? 1, 3, 8, 9, 19. I was shocked. There was no better word for it. The first shock was caused by the fact that the mist had cleared. For after all, the Feast of the Yomi Purge wasn't over yet. The next thing to surprise me was the fact that the sun had just recently come up, but the night had returned. It was dark, but it was a strange kind of darkness. I looked around for the sun, and it took me about 5 seconds to realize that it was the thing in the sky, a loop in the eastern sky. A total solar eclipse. No way. If there was such a celestial event today, I'd have heard about it on TV before Golden Week. This just wasn't an eclipse. It probably had something to do with the unnatural, unreasonable, incomprehensible phenomenon happening before me. Phenomenon? That was too small a word to describe it. Most of my surprise was about the monster. What the It spanned mountains. What is happening? It pierced the clouds. It carved valleys with each step. It leveled the forests. I lacked words to describe the scale of this thing. It dwarfed even the things the tokusatsu shows or in mecha anime. What is actually happening is right. After all, it was still far away. It was beyond the mountain, beyond the cliff, beyond the Saranaga. It was walking. We shadow the Colossus now. Its destination was the golden, no, unpleasantly pale ring that used to be the sun. Even so, I looked up at it. It was thousands of meters tall. It was a monster that had legs the size of mountains, and even the term gigantic seemed to fall short. Even so, all I could do was look up. What the hell was this ending? I'd played a murder game in a village inhabited by werewolves and survived, only to be greeted by a giant monster? What the hell? Who could predict this turn of events? Who would sign off on this plot twist? Naturally, I quickly understood that it was a monster that would bring mythical levels of despair and destruction. Mako was clinging to my leg. I brought her closer to me. Both of us were shaking, and fear. This was nothing but primal fear. Death was nothing in comparison. The fear we felt surpassed mundane concepts like death. It has the wolf signs? Oh, so it does. That was a fear of a world coming to an end. Once I realized that, I knew that humans, a part of this world, could do nothing against this. You've done it now, eh? What? Suddenly, I lost all sense of reality. Hey, you. And there was even some fancy-looking thing in front of me. It was a large plush sheep. It was cute. It talked. But its voice wasn't cute. You listening? Yeah. I'm saying that you've done it now. That thing, huh? I looked again, and strangely enough, the scene had lost all color. The monster was still there, still walking slowly, covering kilometers with each step. But again, I didn't feel real. It didn't feel real anymore, and my fear was gone too. I looked next to me. Mako was still frozen in fear. Again, it didn't feel real. In fact, my hands, clothes, everything around me didn't feel real. This sensation was kind of familiar. Oh, right. It was what I felt every time before dying. I felt this whenever my memories were engulfed in mist and before I looped. And I felt like the sheep was familiar too. I hate to break it to you, but with that thing walking up, this whole country is dead. Oh, dialogue. Who are you? That doesn't matter now. Yes, it does. Wait. Why is a sheep talking? Is this a joke ending? Why is a sheep talking anyways? You get in the situation? I'm telling you this country's through. It's easier to accept the appearance of a monster than a talking sheep. Ugh, you're such a pain in the ass. Listen, I knew there was some weird shit going on in this area. It's because a part of reality was put inside a dream. I specialize in that stuff. That's why I came here, but honestly, just keeping myself hidden from the dreamer was hard enough. I couldn't directly influence the dream, but I could lend help to a human. That's you. But you fucked up. I see. Well, actually, no, that's too brief. So I only get the most basic parts, but what the hell? You understood? Damn. Hell. You can joke around like that in this situation? Sure, all these deaths didn't drive you insane? You're the one behind my looping? No. Things go back after death because of the dream. Of the dream? Yeah. I'm just helping you keep your memories. Oh. So that's how it was. So who's dreaming? Crap. There's no time. Hey, you. Think about what you want to do next once you're back. Is Rikako dreaming? She is the only one still alive. She is also one who didn't die previously. Mako? Yeah, but he's not hiding from Mako. You're telling me to die? No. I've still got a whole load of questions. I don't know shit either. I couldn't do shit after I got into the dream. I don't even know that brat. I don't know what you're doing or why you keep dying. You're on your own there. That was so unreasonable. But so that's how it was. So the only thing you really know is that time around Fujiyoshi keeps looping back. Oh, we got the title song going. You know, when you hit the end of the anime and the title song plays during the climax. You don't know the mystery, incidents, or phenomena that happened in Fujiyoshi, but you know that looping is caused by something here. That's why you're giving me memories of the previous loops. Tell me find the cause behind the looping phenomenon. But then the looping suddenly stopped. I didn't get to the heart of it and the monster showed up. The anomaly reached the ending it's desired, the demise of the country. Man, what is up with your ability to suss stuff out? You got mochi for brains or something? Now that was uncalled for. At first the dream just looped around, but when some outsider came in, it started going all weird and shit. You made a huge mess of things, and that right there is the result. The dream changed because of me? Oh my goodness. Did this mean that the fact that I'd used the looping to try out various options and saw a bunch of timelines? You went and pulled some fucked up shit, huh? I couldn't deny that. I really was fucked up in this loop. But, hold on. Victory as a wolf brought about a giant monster that destroyed the country. That made next to no sense. Haraki is the calamity trigger? Yeah, maybe. That couldn't be it. I was missing something. Time's up. It's gonna be rough, so clench your teeth or something. Huh? What are you gonna do? The loop ended, didn't it? Like I said, I'm a specialist. What does that mean? I can use my power to loop back to when the loop was still happening. Huh? That sounds so absurd, it seems impossible. Well, I can do it, but only once. An intervention this major would sure as shit be noticed by the dreamer. They'd probably think the first time was a glitch, but there'd be no second chance. They'll know it's the work of another dream wielder. What does that mean? We'll be fucked for real then. I'm more skilled, but They're millions of times more powerful. I'd be taken by the dream, and that would be it. No one could help you then. And it'll be how they want it? Exactly. So yeah, don't come back here no matter what. Search for a solution anywhere but here. Basically, I had to prevent this outcome. Gather info from the loops, arrive at the truth, and do something about the dreamer that created the loop and called this monster, huh? What the hell? Wasn't this a story about taking care of some werewolves? What happened to that? Alright, here we go. No, die a hearty death. Huh? Huh? 1 million sheep. Seriously? And so, crushed under the weight of 1 million sheep, I died. 1 million sheep. Where's my key, Eggman? Literally don't come here again until you have all those keys. So where do I go from here? Raging loop. Raising group. Game overlord. Key. Key 20. Ending loop and giant monster. Okay. So we'll follow key 20. We have this key as well. Oops. Let's read it. Key 20 was a big one, I think. Ending loop and giant monster. Thanks to the sacrifices of Kaori-san and Haru-chan, I won as the wolf, or so I should have. But the series of incomprehensible events occurred, such as the resurrection of God and the demise of Japan due to the sudden appearance of a giant monster. Just then, a mysterious sheep appeared, revealed that it had given me my loop memories, and said that it was trying to stop the dream to prevent this horrible outcome. It returned me to the loop once again. Where are the keys I need to reach the truth? So there aren't that many keys to go grab. 5 or 6. You had another option for getting into Yasumizu and it required 20. I remember where we required 20. We required 20 in the original loop when we were in the outhouse. So we choose not to recall. And here, this is where we saw the wolf outside the outhouse. And we had the option to continue hiding in the outhouse. I remember vividly that key 20 was required there because it was such a high number. Yes, this is in the Chiemi loop, and this is the basically the first decision that could have been made. So we are going to go here. Oh, wait. This is different. Hold on. This is earlier in the Chiemi loop. Hold on. Let's actually read this. Huh? We're not just messing around? Get it right. And I'm giving you a nice present. Get it wrong and you're dead. Splish, splish. Seriously? So we're going to say all of them. At that moment, my head was flooded with information. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It felt like my mind was crushed by 1 million sheep. Crap. Why'd I forget? Did my memories carry over in a weird way because the method from back then was weird? That was what when Chiemi asked, why do you think I saved you? Like, why do you think I saved you? This is from loop 1. You're desperate, you need an outlet. I thought these might actually have to do with the previous loops, but they actually do not. You'd feel guilty if you let me die. You're a thirsty perv. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're just going to go here. Remember everything. I didn't realize this was a loop spot or a key spot. I thought it was with the wolf in the outhouse. About the beast in the village, the giant monster, the stream enveloping Fujiyoshi, as well as the looping the sheep had told me about. But this wasn't the time to worry about that. Haruaki-san, what's wrong? This girl. One One time she, fearful of God, faced the wolves with me and eventually met an awful end in Saranaga. Another time she was a cold-blooded wolf that silenced one of her own, then when cornered, tried to kill everyone. And last time, she interfered with us wolves by, for whatever reason, killing herself on the first day of the feast. Her smile that night had been burned into my mind, continuing to torment me. Chemiserizawa. Hold on. I know the reason why she'd done that. It was simple. She'd been dropping hints ever since the very start. They were more like slips of the tongue, small, and almost impossible to notice. Hey, you feeling okay? Do you hate this sort of stuff? Sorry, I guess I got carried away. All of them. Huh? All of the options you named are correct. Pause champ? Zen? Pause champ? Yeah, there were wolves here in Fujiyoshi. Yeah, you were a real murderer. And correct me if I'm wrong, but before I came to Saranaga, you were about to saw off shotgun barrels. Preparing to kill people is something you'd want to hide, so you needed an alibi. Huh? What? Why? You remember the previous loops. Wait. Oh. You should hurry before I change my mind. Hey, that might have been our final farewell in this life, so I wanted to make it nice. Yeah, check the tapes. Check the tapes. Been called since day 0. That was weird. You said you agreed to go on a road trip with me because we were gonna die anyway, but the mist hadn't even shown up yet when I invited you. That means you knew the mist was about to arrive. She'd lost track of what she was supposed to know and not know. It had happened to me before too. Haruaki-san, you ran away because trouble with women, right? I thought you figured that out and was dumped because you were sharp. But if you had memories of the previous loops, it's only natural for you to know that I was dumped. I told that to you myself. Wait, this is about to get freaking crazy. Play with me. Hold my hand. Take me on a bike ride, far away. Let me spend all day sleeping in your arms. The moment that confirmed, it was when you came to me as a wolf and told me about your feelings. Back then, I wasn't a bike rider, but a suicidal guy who had arrived here through Kami Fujiyoshi. True. You'd have no reason to think that you could just hitch a bike ride with me. You know that the real abnormality here isn't the feast, but the looping. It wouldn't make sense otherwise. Oh no, she's going off. She suddenly screamed. In her hand, she held a familiar hunting knife, and she's gonna kill us. It didn't work. Dropping it all on her suddenly was too much for her to handle. Though regret dulled my mind, my vision sharpened, and I saw her slowly charge at me. I might have been used to death by now, but I didn't want it to be so slow and painful. I used the time I was given to just close my eyes. Dead. I collapsed on my back. A sharp pain assaulted me. At least, I thought it was going to, but it didn't. There was just a warm weight against my body. I slowly opened my eyes. Her face was brimming with intense emotion. As her eyes filled with tears, the hand with the knife went limp. The blade fell free. No way. There's no way I wasn't the only one. This is just a dream, isn't it? I'm about to wake up and start the feast again, right? Don't give me false hope. Not with his face. Not with his face, at least. This isn't a dream. Well, to be clear, though it might be reduced to a dream eventually, this moment is real right now. And since we share these memories the dreams give us, the moments we share will never be merely dreams. Haruaki-san, I don't have any weapons on me right now. I won't strangle you either. I won't do anything at all, so... Can I cling to you? Yeah. Aww. Aww, she always loved him. Oh my god. Look at this. She clung to my chest and wailed. Emotion, tears. None of it was restrained. I was so scared. I was so scared. I was so lonely. I was the only one going back again and again and again and again. I killed and got killed by them all so many times. And their deaths, their words, they all just kept piling up. How many times did this happen before we got here is the question. Yeah, how many loops have you had? I stopped counting after 100. Oh my god. It must have been hard. It was. 100 loops. As I embraced her, crying without end, I felt something myself as well. This was a hell from which not even death could save you. Wandering through it all alone, one could help feeling frail and helpless. I'd spent most of my time here chasing after the mystery behind it all. As long as I still had the ideas to try, the mystery was both my greatest fear and fascination. But what if I ran out of ideas? What if I tried everything I could think of, only to discover there was no escape from this loop, and that I was a prisoner of it for eternity? My worst fear was a mystery without an answer. As one faced with that very possibility, I really could relate to her. The alcohol must have made her even more emotional, too. She was crying unceasingly, and as someone who cared about appearances, I had to hold back from getting emotional myself. It took her almost an hour to calm down. She began talking. I wouldn't have minded if she just went to sleep, but the joy and excitement from finally finding someone who shared her experiences probably wouldn't have let her. It was time to check some answers. I'm impressed that you knew. Yeah, I was actually sawing off barrels. In this timeline, I'm an outsider who ended up not participating in the feast, and you didn't have your guns, right? Is that because I interrupted you and made you leave the shotguns in Saranaga? Oh, she was going to pick them up in the Saranaga. Seriously? You really are a detective, aren't you? If I was, I wouldn't be relying on theories and assumptions like this one. It's an evidence-based profession. That's why I need to ask. Next question. Are you a murderer? No. Not yet. This time anyway. At least, I hadn't killed anyone before coming back to Yasumizu. But you had 2 guns, right? I just wanted to go hunting with Kanzo-ji-chan. At first, anyway. She continued to talk. It was May of her 3rd year in college. Time to go job hunting. With the job market in the state it was, most of the leads she'd found on work sounded more like horror stories. She'd come to find a job despite checking 100 places. Some went straight to exploitive business, some had all the credit in the world, yet ended up working on the docks or something. Shimi had no particular profession in mind, nor did she find any ideas at her seminars, so she was at a loss. Her situation was made even worse when her boyfriend left her. Huh? So you're like me. Shut up. He was your second boyfriend, right? Why'd he break up with you? You remember all the details, huh? Anyway, he said that girls with guns creep him out. That might have been weird from a normal man's perspective, but personally, that just intrigued me. How long had you been dating? We got together at the start of Golden Week, and he left me right after it was over. Ouch. Should I just kill you? Anyway, the failed relationship and life in the city in general was starting to get to her, so she'd started to consider moving back here after graduation. Back to Fujiyoshi, a place that she supposedly hated. I'd forgotten most of the bad things after moving away from here. She used job hunting as a pretext to take a short vacation, and she returned here 2 days ago, on Friday. She figured that refreshing her mind and body here would help with her job search. The locals neither celebrated nor disliked the fact that she came back. They just gave her a normal welcome. They hadn't changed. She, however, had. In the past, I used to study after waking up at 5, but now, I'm so used to the easy college life that my circadian rhythm was completely off. I even forgot my MD player, and I couldn't borrow from anyone here since no one had one. Man, did I think the rural life was uncomfortable. No convenience stores nearby either, and since everyone else is so frugal, they don't ever feel like drinking with me. I expected something different, to be honest. This is where I belong and all that. Yeah, no. This place is half abandoned. Why'd I ever expect something like that? I realized that this isn't the place for me either. I slept and woke up on May 10th, yesterday morning. That was the point I looped back to at first. That was unexpected. I asked and found out something more. The point to which she'd looped back had changed twice so far. The first time was the morning of May 10th. This return point stayed consistent for 57 times. Of course, it was just a normal day for me the first time. I spent 2 days doing nothing, and then the mist came. I was hanged on the first day. They said something about me bringing corruption from the outside. Classic. I can still remember the first time my breathing stopped. Then I looped back. At first, I thought it was all just a long nightmare. But then the mist came again. And I looped back many times. No matter what I said or did, I couldn't make it past the 4th day. I was really sad about it. I thought it showed just how worthless I was to them. Yeah, sorry, I know, it's not that simple. But by my 57th death, I just figured that was how it was. Not like it was a big deal to them. I was a wolf, after all. Ooh. Hey, Blem. Thank you for the raid. Big shoutouts to Blaze Emblemir, the homie. I saw you were playing Blaze Blue earlier. I peeped in for a little bit. We are deep in this VN, so welcome everybody. Thanks for the raid. If you want to see the rest of this VN, you are welcome to visit my YouTube down in the corner. The wolves back then were Chemi and Tai Yamawaki-san. With Chemi being easy to suspect and Tai-san not handling herself well, they just couldn't win the feast. Ragna players? I like a Ragna player. Still, they'd successfully brutalized a few people before both of them got hanged. In the end, Chemi took the initiative and committed murders with her own 2 hands. It hadn't taken long for her to try and just kill everyone while breaking the rules. Her trial and error became a matter of just who I'd kill and how. Wow, she just started going off. After that, there was a change. Meiko-chan wandered in. It happened a day after the first restart point. It was already 2 a.m. now, so that would be the morning of yesterday, May 11th. The boring, meaningless day suddenly became a big deal. The reason for that was the lost girl who had wandered in from upstream Saranaga. So that's interesting. Time continues outside the village, but keeps looping in the village. Wow. 2 Naotos and mostly Ragnas. When I was up at CEO, I saw a lot of people playing Naoto. I saw a lot of people playing Susanoo. Takumi-san had told me it wasn't uncommon for Saranaga to bring corpses, but this was the first time it had brought a living human. The sheep said it was localized to the village. True, yeah, that makes sense. Not just any living human, a lost girl of unknown origins. And that means she's not the dreamer, right? Because it's got to be Rikako who's the dreamer. Because if Meiko wandered in after the loops had already started, according to Chami, if there was some trouble in Yasumizu, they couldn't just call someone to inform them about it. In before, the convenience store worker is the dreamer. It also explains why that thing destroying all of Japan is extremely bad. Yeah, true. Said there was an unspoken agreement that they would just bring it up, blah, blah, blah. They'd mentioned the lost girl, and since the driver was in touch with the Higuchis, the village heads would know about it too. Yeah. Rikako is the dreamer, but Rikako can die. I guess you can die in your own dream, right? Like, hypothetically speaking. If something was done about the problem they were told about, this was great. But if it wasn't, Rikako is also one of the only ones with superpowers in this universe, right? So that would make some sense too. Maybe she's like Wanda from like Scarlet Witch Wanda. She's got her whole little like Wanda town here, and she's just living it up and like in a world of her own creation. And the sheep is there to like make sure it doesn't like go crazy. If you die in your dream, then you wake up. But she got hanged for sure, right? She got hanged, or she got killed by Chemi. And then shit kept going. I don't know. Maybe there's like just a completely different person that's the dreamer. The next supply run would be Thursday, sometime away, so they didn't know what to do with the girl. I don't think Rikako ever got hanged either. She got turned into a Yomibito. I think she got killed by Chemi. Oh, she got stabbed by Chemi. Yeah. Yeah. We all, like, everyone died there. Tai-san screeched about chasing her out, and in the end, Rikako-san agreed to take her in. The problem was solved, for anyone but Chiemi anyways. I mean, she just appeared out of nowhere on the 58th time. I wondered what that was all about. It was a change just big enough to make me wonder if there was hope in this nightmare. The feast soon started, and the guardian assignments changed a lot. Takumi Ni-chan was the snake, and revealed it on the first day. You probably know this timeline. Oh! So, the guardians didn't change as the feast didn't change. So, Chiemi was the wolf like every single time in the first 57 timelines. Brutal. Imagine getting paired with the same feeder partner, aka Tai, like every single time, every single loop. So basically the timeline where I was alive but didn't participate was similar to the one where I just wasn't there at all. Still, she was human in the new timeline, and that change gave her hope, so she started experimenting again. It didn't take long for her to despair again. Takumi Ni-chan died early, and I either got hanged or was killed by the wolves early. One time, Kaori-san went crazy and poisoned the food. The ones who died happened to be the wolves, and we won! I left Yasumizu then, but the late night bus got engulfed in mist, and I don't know what happened, but it probably crashed and I got sent back. The return point was now Sunday morning. The moment Meiko-chan wanders in had now become the new routine, and I still didn't see a way out. The morning of May 11th, it was the restarting point that she'd went back to more often than any other. Overcome by despair, she started trying to challenge the feast's rules. She tried escaping the mist, surviving the corruption after killing more than one a day, etc., etc. After dozens of tries, she'd concluded that there was no way to escape these laws. By that point, she'd killed each of the locals dozens of times. Jeez. Whenever I saw their faces, I began thinking of the corpses and dying screams from this time or that time. Yeah, 2 people looping makes it weird, right? Like, there's kind of multiple loops going on parallel to each other in theory. These memories just began popping up in my mind. Well, she was dead in the most recent loop. Did she immediately wake up to the new loop? Maybe it felt immediate, but it woke up after the loop had set. I don't actually know. It wasn't like I hurt it or anything. It hurt or anything. I'd actually gotten too okay with it. I actually began to think that that might have been the true reality. That everyone had already died or become Yomibito, and that the story I heard as a wolf was right. That's when I just started doing whatever and seeing what stuck. I even tried killing everyone before the feast began, even though I knew there was no way it could lead me to victory. And well, it didn't. No matter how hard I tried, I was either hanged, killed, or got caught in the mist and died. At that point, I was already tired of dying. It hurt, of course, but more than that, it became boring. The only way to beat the boredom now was to find new ways to kill people. The many impossible deaths happening on repeat had warped her heart and her mind. So, yeah. I am a real murderer now. That wasn't a thing to say with such a smile. Haruaki-san. Oh, don't become a murderer. I finally realized what that meant. Don't become like me. That's what you wanted to say, right? Yeah. It was a well-placed warning indeed. Unfortunately, back then, I not only missed it, but I went on to become the absolute worst murderer I could think of. Your arrival was the 3rd change since Meiko-chan came. The starting point moved about 12 hours, too. The night of May 11th, the day before the feast, as well as this day I got lost on my bike ride and Chiemi went out to prepare the kill. That was the newest starting point, and the one she and I actually shared. Sorry, I botched that. At first, I didn't expect much. You were just a funny guy who'd probably die like Mamiya and Hashimoto-san. But after you came, for some reason, more and more changes started happening. Mamiya-san survived once, I became a wolf again, and nothing. Anyway, then Hashimoto-san survived, and the roles changed again. I understand everything once I saw Haru-chan go to the construction site. Oh yeah, since the wolves did their job while everyone was sheltering, anyone who stayed outside and watched would quickly know who they were. You were a human until then, but you became a wolf. I was worried that you'd go insane like I did. That's why I said that. I didn't really want to remember that. Once I'd become a wolf, I'd intended to not be bound by Yasumizu's rules, but in the end, I'd become an utter madman. And to make it worse, I ended up dancing on the palm of God's hand. Chimi's words might have become a subconscious brake for the madness racing within me. That was why her face came to mind whenever I was partaking in something really messed up. Anyway, this reminded me of another mystery. Wait, how did you go outside back then? I just stood on the second floor of the dorm and shot any dogs coming up. Wait, you can beat the night just like that? A gun? A gun is all you need? Let's go. No, it just buys you some time. Eventually the real deal comes. Real deal? The thing with the wolf head and the human body. Oh yeah, we know about that. That has to be a human, wearing clothes like the ones given to the wolves. That werewolf, man-wolf, works for Shinai-san. Servant of the Okami-sama. You were a wolf, so you saw the figures in the Hanging Pines graveyard, right? That was Shinai-san, and those who mete out his punishments are werewolves. And there are lots of them. Shinai was Okami. Great Lord Shinai and Okami-sama were the same thing. Mamiya-san said that too. 3 creatures who came to you in a dream. Besides them, there were lots of monsters who carried out their will. God had implied that the dogs, the bringers of the corruption, were the servants of the badger, Mujina-sama. Using those werewolves as underlings might have been the power of the Great Lord Shinai as Okami-sama. So, even if you get rid of the bringers of corruption, you'll always die when faced with that thing? Chemi nodded. It didn't look like I could go anywhere from here, so I would just leave it at that. Back to what we were talking about. Why did you decide to wait for us outside? I thought I'd just end it. Huh? I was all alone in the feast, but there was a person who helped me out a lot. Me? Honestly, you just made it a bigger mess. Hell, I died a lot thanks to you. I'm sorry. No, don't worry. I killed you tons of times too. Really? Well, then I guess we're even. You're quick to bounce back, aren't you? You weren't that upset, were you? I'd only care about it if you did. Anyway, who's the person? Rikako-san. Uematsu Rikako. She helped you. She's a Fujiyoshi person to the core, but I'm sure she's the best person here. Sure, she's rampantly superstitious and super conservative, but also refined, devoted. And she treats outsiders, as well as outcasts like me, like equals. She isn't disgusted by us. The bedroom woman servant who took in anything, huh? If Fujiyoshi had a good ol' X about it, it's probably her. She's like a huge pile of all things good about the past. You fell for her too, didn't you? No. Not really. Liar. Well, I can see her appeal though. Anyway, she's an anomaly here in Fujiyoshi. But even in Kami Fujiyoshi? Yeah. Uematsu are on the decline and, well, it's a family with circumstances. And everyone knows it. Oh. She's pretty, but also too weird for most to deal with. The Nosato blockhead is probably her only fan. She barely even gives him the time of day, though. Chimi grinned cruelly. She was pretty hard on him, huh? I see. So why are you indebted to her? For many things. She defended me during the feast, became my shield when someone went wild and tried to kill me, and took in the corruption, among other things. What do you mean? Do you remember how, in this timeline, the local old man and Mochi both die at the same time? And how she becomes Yomibito the next day? Yeah, I do. You know something about that? The old man killed Mochi, and then I killed the old man. Huh? I'm not surprised that you killed him, but the old wolf guy killed Mochi? That pisses me off. I was pretty surprised too. When we split up and searched for them, I found Mochi already dead. The old man laughed and attacked me, so I reflexively... So he was planning on getting away if he lost the vote, even if it meant killing someone. Yeah. Kanzo-ji-chan probably suspected that too, so in timelines where he's alive, he just hangs him by force. But that's weird. Killing more than one per day or trying to run away means death. Yeah, I know that better than anyone. How did he plan to avoid dying? Was he just not thinking about it? I think he was just too senile to think that far ahead. Is that possible? Honestly, I couldn't help but feel like he'd chosen to kill out of malice. I really had to find a way to get some information out of him. Wait, more importantly, how did you survive after sploshing the old wolf guy? I told you. Rikako-san took in the corruption for me. Huh. You mean she passed the feast penalty onto herself? Yeah. After splashing the old man, I was like, oh man, did I mess up? Guess this is it for this time. That's when Rikako-san came out of the mist. She was surprised, but then said, you will not die. I will take in your sin and corruption. You sound just like her. Yeah, I know, right? Should we really be talking about this so casually? The sullen mood had vanished, and we were now talking about this stuff over a few beers. I think it's fine. We're not murderers yet. Let the past loops get to you, and you'll go nuts in no time. This was bothering me so much, and you took care of it like it was nothing. Oh well, guess I'll take it easy. Anyway, Rikako-san protected me, so I went back to change my clothes. We talked then, remember? Oh, Haruaki-san. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember she knocked. Oh yeah, so you were changing out of your bloody clothing back then. Yep, I like that get-up, so I have a spare. Now that you mention it, I did feel like she'd said that. Anyway, you went against the 1 per day rule. Yeah, from my experience, you always suffer the corruption at night after breaking it. That timeline was the only exception. And since Rikako-san had taken it in, like she said, the corruption went to her instead, huh? But wasn't she supposed to be torn apart? That's Yomi's corruption. Yomi's corruption? The strongest, worst corruption. Touching it makes you a Yomi Bito. Yomi was now acting afraid of something. Okay, I get why you feel indebted to Rikako-san, and why you wanted to give up on the feast, and how you got here. Now for a more serious question. You probably won't like this, but it's necessary to get to the heart of the matter. Can you help me out? Of course, if it's something you can't handle, you can just stop. Chimmy lightly nodded. You are invested in something supernatural that the others here aren't. One of them is the corruption, and the other is God. Tell me about both. You remember everything, even when you die. So, I don't wanna... You'll hate and be disgusted by me forever. I don't want that. You're the only one who can understand me. It's fine. I didn't feel much about you being a murderer, right? But it's fine. You promise you won't hate me? I promise. After a few seconds of hesitation, she finally gathered her resolve. She then put her hands inside the collar and took something out. A metallic trinket on a metal chain, showing 3 symbols. A whirl and a diamond. That was the sign of the Yomotsu Okami. I remember the time I picked it up in Saranaga after I'd won against Chemi as the snake. So it belonged to her, huh? Don't look! Serizawa-sama. Oh, she noticed it back then? This is a corruption not even I can take in. She was talking about the necklace. Rikako-san had discovered something pendant-like that Chemi was wearing. After it, Chemi went nuts and ran off into the mist. That meant that what I'd found in Saranaga on the other timeline had been dropped by her after she jumped off the cliff. And I finally realized another thing. Here, the talisman with the sign of the Yomotsu Okami, Yomi itself, was the worst of omens, and actually wearing it couldn't have been a good thing. It could only represent the worst, most fearful, and maddening of things. This is something I've been wearing since I was little. You know what this means, right? A whirl and a claw, the sign of the Yomotsu Okami, the lord of the corrupted hunting grounds. Why do you have that? Because I'm corrupted. My old name was Chiemi Miguruma. Yo, ayo. She comes from the Miguruma. Miguruma. The tower lookouts. The top of the four-head families in Kami Fujiyoshi. The snake. Chiemi Miguruma was the daughter of the snake. She didn't have any siblings, so she was supposed to become the wife of the man who'd be adopted and become the head of the family. At least, until she was 5. Jimmy's eyes turned dry and empty. That day, I playfully opened the iron door to the basement of the third lookout. I was told to never go in there, and the door had that symbol on it. And... Oh, calm down, Chemi-chan. You saw the dogs, didn't you? She came back to her senses and light returned to her eyes. I knew it. I could see part of the conspiracy. The dogs bit you, right? Yeah. As it became harder for her to speak, she pulled up her sleeves and showed me her wrists. They were old, but clearly visible scars on them. Anyone who takes in Yomi's corruption will eventually go mad and die. We Migurumas had that drilled into our heads since we were little. Why do the Miguruma have them? Saranaga isn't the only entrance to Yomi. It has its mouth open in many places. The Uematsu family used to protect us against it, but they couldn't do it anymore, so the Miguruma took it upon themselves. Chimi nodded. A daughter who'd received Yomi's corruption wasn't suitable for the Miguruma. That's why, just like Mochi, I was disowned. Sorry. I've calmed down now. Don't force yourself. It's fine. I had my surname changed to that of a branch family and was sent to Yasumizu. Again, just like Mochi. Huh. So they changed surnames because of the disowning. Oribe was probably Kari-san's maiden name. But yeah, I could see how that worked around this. Hey Mo, what's up? No one seemed to know that you were a Miguruma then. The Miguruma are a very secretive family. They hide any births and deaths in the family for about 10 years. You can't shut out gossip though, can you? The Miguruma clan, the people who do the reports and everyone at the funeral home, are all Miguruma. I see. But why are they so secretive? I left when I was little, so I can't be sure. But they probably think that the secrets have power. Secrets and mysteries could mobilize people, huh? Intelligence management was extremely important when keeping a group in line, especially for the Miguruma, who were doing something dangerous. This pendant is proof of the corruption. I'm corrupted, so I'm fated to become part of the Yomi. But I was told that it would be the corruption. I would hold the corruption back and keep it under control until the time came. Yomotsu Okami were scary Yomibito, which I believe controlled other Yomibito. So I thought this would keep me, a corrupted Yomibito, from going wild. I was really scared of that happening. That was nothing more than her earnest beliefs. That was why I understood just how pure and profound her feelings were. She'd come to know immense despair at an extremely young age. So you went to Yasumizu, and then what? Hi, Whooper. Well, I went nuts. I was young, but I know that I was corrupted and sent to a corrupted place. Taiba-chan was my primary victim. She was the one in charge of the dining hall, and I always refused the food. Oh, so that was why they were still so distant. I entered elementary school as Serizawa, and I was the only student from Yasumizu back then. It was pretty hard. I was bullied, and if I fought back, they'd team up on me and make me out to be the bad guy. It kind of worked out because the teacher knew what was going on. But then the teacher transferred to another school. My situation got really bad. Then Oribe-san and family moved in, and then Yasu-kun, Haru-chan, and Yoshi-kun started going to the school. I'm doing pretty good, Wooper. I hope you're doing well as well. I became the big sister character, so I had to do my best. And then, well, you know, you kicked the crap out of someone. I kicked the crap out of someone. Well, I got chewed out and punished pretty harshly, and I might have made the situation even worse for Yasumizu. But all the bullying stopped, so I'm proud of what I did. I see. So that was why the children here adored her, but she felt awkward around the adults. Yep, we finished the wolf route with the really weird ending, and now we're like collecting breadcrumbs from all the other pieces. So, was it a conscious sense of duty that made you do that? I was mostly just pissed. I don't mind, I don't mind. It's cool, you know, it's cool. I was a pretty rough girl. But at the core of it all, there was the fear and the corruption, right? Deep down, you were scared by the thought that you'd go insane eventually. Or were you just desperate? You know everything, don't you? Sorry, I don't mean to seem like a know-it-all. It's fine. I'm glad to have someone at least tries to understand me. Chimmy giggled. She could laugh at it now, but probably only because she'd grown up and realized a few things. Did you look into a lot when you left for college, like about the dogs and stuff? Well, yeah. Should you really still be afraid of them? I'm scared of God and its corruption. The science behind the disease doesn't change much. Yeah, let's talk about that then. In one of the timelines I was in, I met God. Huh? I'm pretty sure I know what kind of thing God is, but I feel like it's a bit different from the image of God that you gave me. Chimmy, can you see God? As in, visually? Hey Wreath, how's it going? You think it's insane, right? The looping and God itself are already pretty insane, to be honest. I'm pretty much ready to accept anything at this point. How flexible. Are you an octopus? Why did everyone like comparing me to weird stuff so much? Yeah, I see it. Is it different than the 3 you see when you get the blessing of the wolf? God is on everyone. Dying to this heat? I feel that. It's pretty hot down here too. Even little girls like Mako? It's not really clear on her. It seems big though. Whatever it is. I was told that there are 3 gods in Yasumizu. Who told you that? That's a secret. The only Yasumizu gods I know are Shinai-sama and God. Shinai-sama is a god, no? Shinai is a god, but not the god I have in mind. The god on Haru-chan is the one you're thinking of, right? Yeah. I think I get it. Oh, tell me more. Not right now. Hey, don't be like that. At this point, I was now able to split up and think about the problems I was involved with right now individually. One problem was the prevention of the Feast of the Yomi Purge. Another problem was the prevention of the giant monster's resurrection. And the third problem was ending the loop. They were all related, but they need different solutions. And to fix the first one, the feast, I'd have to use the looping to do something about God. Specifically, the god that had Chiemi, as well as everyone else in Yasumizu, completely imprisoned. Weak, powerless god, my ass. This one was a pain to deal with because they were powerless. I had to be careful about how I dealt with it. As well as Chiemi, God's prisoner. I'll keep it a secret for a while longer. But why? Because I know secrets have power. We continued exchanging info. I couldn't keep the sheep hidden, so I started with that. When I loop back, I always see a sheep, and that's probably the reason I keep my memories. What about you? I don't remember anything like that. That meant that the reason she kept her memories was different than mine, and her memory retention was less consistent than mine. Some memories actually felt like a dream for her, and often lacked clarity. She said that, for all she knew, she might have looped a lot more times than she even realized. I was curious why she kept her memories, but I set that aside for now. Anyway, according to the sheep, the loops were happening because of the dream. I thought over, and in my own way, the things it quickly shared with me. Something had absorbed Fujiyoshi and its general area into a dream. It was absurd, but I had to accept it. An area of some square kilometers had been detached from the real world, meaning that this was like a virtual reality. The space could be restarted. I wonder if the trigger for the loop ending is all the Yomibito dying. Maybe. The space could be restarted and it probably had a different flow of time. I'd spent a lot of loops here, but I bet not even a second had passed in reality. This dream could happen over and over without wasting any time. That gave the mastermind behind it countless chances to create the ending they wanted. And once that happened, the dream would stop being a dream. Yeah, that's true. That did happen. Like and then because like the entity controlling all this didn't have a way to kill Haruaki and like restart the loop, or kill everyone, I guess, and restart the loop, they just sick that giant monster on everyone. Because when Chiemi went off, it was Mako, Haruaki, the wolves, Rikako, and Nosato was there though. So I guess he's one of the ones who was like banished. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Hard to say. It would become prophetic, basically, or rather, stop being reset as just a dream and turn everything that happened into reality. That meant that I could be going about my business, still thinking that I could retry it all, when the master of the dream could just yank the rug under me and be like, nope. This was as if reality had an intrusive editor who told the author to turn anything he didn't like into a dream. Man, was that messed up. According to the sheep and Chiemi's info, the range of the dreams had changed. At first, the dream just looped around, but when some outsider came in, it started going all weird and shit. We made a huge mess of things. Yep, Mako changed it. We changed it. The reporters changed it. I had no idea how many loops the sheep had been through since starting, but it did mention that things didn't change much at the start. That meant that the result was the same no matter how much the dream repeated, far from the ending the dream's architect desired. That was when they brought in the first outsider, probably Chiemi. That method was most likely moving the dream's start sometime further. When Chiemi had returned to Fujiyoshi, she had already entered the dream, unwittingly becoming trapped in the loop. Because of the start of the loop, the starting point was pushed a bit later, Chiemi became a character in the dream. Chiemi was the first one who had memories of the previous loops, and with her joining, the dream began to change. Oh, I wonder if everyone who wandered into the dream keeps their memories. Chiemi, Mako could probably keep her memories. Chiemi, Mako, and we don't know about the reporters because they just fucking die early. And Haruaki. Maybe those are all the ones that keep their memories. Thus, they moved the start a bit later again, this time taking in Mako, who, from what it seemed, didn't have memories of... Well, fuck me then, I guess I'm wrong. It wasn't hard to guess that nothing was changed by her joining. The third one to enter was me, and I, unaware of the mastermind's plot, tried out various things and ended up fulfilling their wishes. The sheep said that the mastermind still didn't know about its involvement. However, they must have known that Chiemi and I often did unexpected things. Though, I wasn't sure if they were aware that we had our memories. They either didn't know about it, or just didn't know the cause. So I guess we shouldn't reveal that we remember stuff, huh? Yeah, especially around the people of Yasumizu. Huh? What, you're saying that one of them is the mastermind? That's likely. And at the very least, I'm pretty sure the Miguruma have nothing to do with the looping. Why? Because their god is different than Great Lord Shinai's. But who could it be? Who's hiding another god? Is it possible for a person to hide a god from your sight? I can't really see the gods of the people I don't know. I see. Basically, her ability was like an eye for reading people. Even though you couldn't know for sure based on the faces, some people could intuitively figure out certain things about others just by finding out more about them. Is Mochi the dreamer? He kind of has that dream-like thing where he'll like say something like you do in a dream, and then it'll like be true. The logic that got him to like saying it was there isn't the case, but it always ends up being true. Mochi could totally be the dreamer. It might have been a kind of synesthesia. There were people in the world who perceived numbers as colors. And with that in mind, I shouldn't have experienced their supernatural power to be the solution to this supernatural problem. Mochi has died before. There's like nobody who hasn't died though. I guess Rikako is the one we're going off of, but like Mochi died. When did Mochi die? He was a wolf in the second one. In the third loop, he made it to the end. Sorry. The old man killed him in the first loop. Yeah. Instead, I should rely on her ability to retain memories. What do we do now? I'd like to see more endings so I can help set some conditions. The only outcomes I know are the one where wolves achieved a flawless victory, the one where humans achieve a normal victory, and the one where wolves achieved a Pyrrhic victory. The Pyrrhic victories ended up summoning the monster, so that's no good, but I don't actually know what the exact cause of the summoning. Was it related to the feast, or did I step on some other landmine? I have no idea. That's why I think we have to try challenging the feast a whole bunch more times. Seriously? Yeah. What about running off into the forest and having a good time there? We'll die, right? There might be a way out. Somewhere. Oh, that's true. Then let's search for one. Honestly, I didn't think that would get us any closer to the truth, but I didn't put much effort into protesting either. Yeah, you go, Haruaki. She'd been in so many feasts that had become traumatic for her. She wanted to avoid going through it again. She didn't want to be more aware of what kind of murderer she was becoming. Alright. I would do this with her until she was satisfied. Even if it was a challenge without a real end, it was worth it as long as she could find peace. This probably gets us a key. We tried using our memories to quickly fix the bike and leave. We tried going out through Saranaga before the mist came. We waited until the mist came and tried to leave through the forest in full hiking gear I got from the convenience store. No idea why they were selling that. In the end, we either were engulfed in the mist and died before even realizing it, or we were engulfed in the mist and died without getting anywhere. In the latter cases, Chemi either died by breaking apart again, or we were caught by those monsters. This is cute though, like they're going on a bunch of little like death dates with each other, you know, to spend a whole bunch of time together because they know they'll remember them. That happened in a movie. I don't remember which movie. It wasn't like Inception or something, but it was similar where like they kept like resetting themselves and like going on another adventure together. After trying it enough times, we both became used to it. Oh, I'm crumbling again, she said. Then let's stop, I'd reply as we aimed our guns at each other and killed one another. I want this. This is what I want. Taking advantage of shortcuts like that, we came back over and over and tried again. Nothing seemed to work, so we tried spending a night outside after the mist came. We got rid of the dogs with water and guns. Isn't the mist so romantic, Haruaki? I wonder how we'll die this time. I quickly found out that this was a mistake since Chemi couldn't keep her presence of mind. Unable to bear the tension and fear, she would mumble something about God and either run off or kill herself. Then, no matter what happened afterwards, I ended up killed by the monster-looking thing. Whether the monster was actually real or not wasn't a problem anymore. I already know that any rule breakers would be punished. The problem here was that Chemi still wanted to continue the pointless loops. Let's go there this time. Let's hide here this time. I patiently played along. But being certain that there was no point in this, I played along with her attempts to escape about 50 times. We continued to do this for a while before I told her to let me try something, and somewhat forcefully took the lead. What I wanted to try was a feast victory with minimal casualties, and how many days could be passed without murder. For that, we'd have to figure out what sort of rules govern the Guardian assignments. I actually had an idea for how it worked. First time, the time I was the snake, the time I was a wolf, and the time Chiemi had first become a wolf. Over them, I noticed that there were trends, such as Chiemi's tendency to become a wolf, or Mochi's tendency to become a monkey. To find out the nature of these trends, I wrote down the guardian distributions I knew on a table. First, I tried putting the names in order, then writing down their guardians, but didn't find any patterns there. Then, I had an idea to try basing it on their dwelling locations, and bingo! The monkey was obviously dependent on where the people lived, and they didn't change much across loops. It was clear that Takumi-san tended to get the snake, and I'd gotten instead of him that time because our houses were close together. The same could be said about Kaori-san and Yoshitsugu-kun getting the crow. Basically, the guardians were given out to the houses, rather than the people. I was familiar of a way of allocating data that changed slightly, but not by a lot. I know a means to bring about such results. A ghost leg lottery. It wasn't a completely random method. Even if you used tons of lines, the results wouldn't split up properly without intent. And even if there were new possible options, the results wouldn't change without removing or adding new lines. Even if you added 2 or 3 new options to a ghost leg lottery, you would add them to the right and add a few branches, and that would leave the left side mostly unaffected. 2 or 3 lines would just shift the result a bit to the side, but not much further than that. That had to be it, right? As in, someone held a ghost leg lottery to decide who got which guardian. The theory in mind, I sought out a particular person. Hey, Mochi. Whoa. Why do you know my nickname? Ignore that and just look at this. It's a popular puzzle. Can you write down a ghost leg lottery with these results? I want you to make it so removing this line does this, and adding a line here does this. I have no idea how to do that. Just whatever feels right to you. Oh, okay. Like this? Of course he nails it. He actually met the conditions perfectly. How like him. Like hell, a puzzle like this could be popular. His talent for getting the answer right without proof actually scared me. It was a talent that could turn society on its head, but that wasn't what was important at the moment. To see whether the ghost leg lottery was usable, I attacked the Nosata mansion once. Specifically, I broke the windows the day before the mist came, and he was so scared that he just returned to Kami Fujiyoshi the next morning. My theory was that the lottery began with the settlement's upper region. That was why adding new people to the empty houses affected the guardian assignments, while Kiyonosuke continued to be human. Thus, without him, the roles would have to change drastically. With those conditions, I tried a case in which Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san both died, while I took Gen-san dude's place. I ended up being the snake, while Chiemi was the badger. The wolves ended up being Yoshitsugu and Mochi. The ghost leg lottery was completely accurate. Wow. Brilliant. I also tried looking into how the distribution worked before Mako came, and apparently there was a human missing in the middle. That confirmed that the guardians weren't handed out by a supernatural force, but through a ghost leg lottery. Using this, I could also create lots of patterns. By changing my residence, I could get whatever guardian I wanted. A good one would allow me to get through it without any problem. At that moment, I excitedly told Chiemi that the feast was as good as ours. I never forgot the dead eyes she looked at me with. So, when'll it end? I finally realized that I'd made a huge oversight. Chiemi had passed her limit long ago, and I'd forgotten that my sense for such things was a bit different than a normal person's. I wanted to clear the feast with a minimal number of deaths and find out how many days could go by without a murder. It required the agreement of all the participants. It wasn't something I could do by myself, and I needed Chiemi to try it with me. I didn't mind looping about 100 times more. She, however, didn't want to loop ever again. She tried weird things before because she wanted to try a method that could let her win quickly and easily, even if it was absurd. In her eyes, my plan to loop hundreds upon hundreds of times in a case of trial and error was simply unacceptable. I was killed. She wanted to kill me, and so she shot me right up front. Haruaki-san, what if the winning move is to kill you 100 times? I realized that I never considered what a threat Chiemi with memories could be. I was killed over and over again, over and over. Sometimes she killed me right upon seeing me in the darkness of Saranaga or the dining hall. Oh my god. This is so damn fun. Your expression is so new to me. I love it. Sometimes she acted out events like I'd remembered them, then grinned and killed me when I was completely defenseless. Oh my god, Chiemi-chan Dark Edition is still alive. Apparently she didn't remember the things until I provoked it. Oh, apparently she didn't remember things until I provoked it somehow. That must have been because the number of loops she'd spent alone was way lower than the number of loops since we'd started sharing memories. Her loop count was probably way over 100. She was a whole lot more damaged than I had first thought. Oh, but after she killed me 63 times, it finally got to me. I'd been attacked in Saranaga about 20 times now. Half of those times, she just blasted me with both shotguns at the same time, just like this time. Otherwise, she used traps or feints to corner me, and then finished me off. So, she had no idea how to handle a situation in which I survived her first shotgun blasts. Why? No what? How do you think I feel about getting killed over and over again? Honestly, not even I'd expected to find a bulletproof vest in that convenience store. That convenience store is some shit. There is something supernatural about that convenience store. It didn't protect me completely, though. I just kept my torso from being blown to pieces. My rib cage was shattered, and the internal injuries were undoubtedly fatal. Still, I had enough life in me to catch her off guard and fight back. Chiemi-chan, how do you want to die? Oh man, this was so satisfying. What do I do next time, though? What would she do to me after this? Would this just continue forever? This might have been an actual dead end. Man, you're such a damn pain in the ass. End of the line for me this time. She could still breathe? My consciousness faded at about the same moment as I delivered the final attack. The next loop came. I entered Yasumizu through Saranaga and countered Chiemi, just like always. This time was different, though. She didn't have any weapons. Chiemi didn't attack me or run. She just vacantly looked at nothing in particular. Nice to meet you. Chiemi Serizawa. I sat down next to her. Nice to meet you. Haruaki Fusaishi-san. What a mechanical response. Saying each other's names on our first encounter had been common practice since we started sharing memories of the loops. However, neither of us said anything more this time. It was awkward. I felt like we just had a fight. Well, it's not like we hadn't. What is it? Are you mad? I don't have any reason to be. Yeah, but are you mad? The pain in the ass hurt a bit to hear. Hey, don't get teary-eyed on me. And I only fought back once. There was no love in the way you killed me. Now that's a quote. Well, I didn't mean for there to be any love in it, and I don't know how I'd feel if you told me that your kills did. I know. I know what you mean. I got so carried away. Killing you helped me forget the feelings of isolation. I can kill you countless times and do whatever to you, so I thought you'd always forgive me. And that's just awful. Oh, wow. Imperius Club, thank you for the raid. Hello, everyone. Welcome. No fighting games today. Big shout outs to Imperius Club for the raid, though. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. I hope Plus R was enjoyable. We are playing a visual novel today, so big spoilers if you don't want to get caught up with it. But you can find actually the old ones on my YouTube if you want. You can see my YouTube down in the corner. But thank you for the raid. Big shout outs to everybody. If you want to hang out, totally fine. If you don't, I will be playing DNF Duel on Friday. So stop by on Friday. I'll be playing DNF Duel, and that'll be more fighting games. Last loop, I realized that I was really being a pain in the ass for you, but you only saw this whole thing in terms of your own goal. What? It wasn't our goal to you. I'm just a side character to you, and all that matters to you is whether I'm useful or not. Listen, I only said that just because I was a bit pissed. That's all. That's a lie. You lie so much. I finally realized you scare me, even more than God. Being hurt, killed, or simply glared at by you scares me more than anything. That's how much I love you. You're scary because I love you. And I love you because you're scary. I want to kill you because I love you, and I just love you so much that I want to kill you. I know that's weird, but that's what I realized. I really do love you. But it's a feeling that's not mutual at all. That wouldn't have changed even if I wasn't killing you, right? Stop with the You always say that before you tell a lie. Oh yeah, he's gotta tell. These two psychos are perfect for each other? Yeah, they are. Oh, he's got this bad tell. Hey, who are you really? Oh, pause champ. A student, a doctor, a detective? Are you just a murderer? I don't know anything anymore. I love you, and I want to kill you, and you scare me. I want to be closer to you, and run away from you, and become one with you. I want everything you are, but I can tell that you don't want that. But I don't know what'll happen after that. I figured that maybe just killing you over and over would keep me happy, even if it scared me. I always thought this was hell, but maybe it's actually heaven? I pushed her into the river. What are you doing? What are you doing? Kissing you. I meant the pushing. Well, I just thought, who the hell's this girl that's killed me what the hell is this girl who's killed me dozens of times saying? And I figured I had to get back at you somehow. Okay, repeat after me. I won't do what people don't want me to do. I won't do what people don't want me to do. Just so you know, I don't like being killed over and over again. So find a better way to express your love to me. I don't know why this music is so triumphant. Now, I'll look back at all that as an expression of love, and I don't hate you. I like how insane you are. Really? I mean, no. I won't let you fool me. If that's true, why have you been calling me just Chemi after we started sharing memories? You noticed? I did. Because liking something and someone and dating them are two different things. I do like you, but I'd say our compatibility is the worst. Or maybe it's too good. If we're together for long, we'll just become more and more insane, even after we get out of here. Well, there are societies where you can get by being a bit weird, but I think that we both should look for something more normal. And I kind of got close to someone else. Rikako-san? Yeah. And Haru-chan. Damn, you're saying she's third? When did that happen? After you killed yourself. Oh well. Basically, you want to choose someone other than me, even though neither of them even know about you now? That's not it. It's just that I ended up providing them with really awful deaths. After that, I've been left with feelings of guilt and a desire to at least make them happy next time around. And it'd be insincere to choose you while I still feel that way, right? About as insincere as pushing me down and kissing me. That kiss was payback for all the murders. And okay, fine. But really, my lips are enough for that? The taste was great. Oh, I remembered something. It's about the quiz that you gave me. You being a thirsty perv is a bad answer, you innocent little girl. You dummy. I'll kill you. I won't kill you. Just date me already. Be mine. And become my first. Excuse me. This is it. This is exactly what I wanted. I love this mix of happiness and embarrassment. It sustains me. Then, no. If I do that, you'll find happiness in this looping hell and stop wanting to leave it. I don't mind that. Like hell. That's not how you were at the start, right? The looping warps people. Even I was no exception a couple of the times. Even if you can tough it out, dying hurts. And that's something nobody wants. Imagine if this goes on forever, and we keep dying over and over. Maybe even at each other's hands. I'm not confident I can keep liking you in that scenario. You can't deny that either, can you? As long as the loop continues, we won't expire due to old age and just pile memory upon memory as we go. Imagine if we end up hating each other. This would become a true hell. I don't want that. I really don't. Man, Jimmy-chan, what a crybaby. Shut up, you psychopath. A murderer just called me a psychopath. Anyway, I try to stay honest from now on. I can't date you while counting on an escape that's not yet in sight. Thus, I said it. Is this what it means to be heartbroken? Yeah. No, huh? Nope. Oh. Sorry for killing you so many times. I got my payback. Sorry for killing you last time. It was just one time, but it was really cruel. I was so scared. Sorry. Sorry I've been a pain in the ass. Sorry for not being more considerate. I won't do it again. I do enjoy the attention you give me, though. Really? Really. You should really think about whether you want to kill or date me. You're right. I had so many dreams of murder that I forgot what's what. I want to forget everything. Let's go to the hanging pine and jump into Saranaga. Head first. Like this. Why? Maybe the head trauma will help us forget what we don't want to remember. I like that. It's like a couple suicide. We really might be insane. Yeah, the bruh. Or maybe that could be said about everyone who is in love. No, it's not like that, Haruaki. You can't see the bottom from here. Yeah. Can we really die if we fall? I'm pretty sure we will. What if we fall on a flat part of the cliff, survive, and suffer? You got any other ideas, Chemi-san? Well, maybe we'll fall in the same spot if we hug each other. You hopeless romantic. Huh? What's wrong? At this inappropriate moment, I realized something. I just had a thought that I should be the one at the bottom and take the brunt of the impact. Wow, you're gonna protect me? But then I won't hit my head to forget, right? That's not what I mean. I just figured since I can loop back if I die. That's not right. I mean, I'm the one who's gonna loop back. Exactly. I've been going through this while ignoring one of the main issues here. From my perspective, I obviously don't remember what happens after I die. And I always go back to the start after just a moment. But now that I think about it, the same is true for you too, right? Because we don't have consciousness when we're dead. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, you told me about things that happened after I died, so I was like, huh? Exactly. We talked about loops in which we talked about loops in which either of us wasn't present, but we still didn't know the condition that actually causes the loop to reset. I thought that everything after my death just wouldn't happen. Same here, but we proved that that's not how it works. Then, when does the world loop back? It has to be some sort of day, like our starting point, right? What's the longest you've survived? The feast back then ended in 4 days, so it's probably 10 days or 2 weeks. Wait, hold on. I feel like I'd survived way longer than that. My longest is a week, but now that I think about it, it could happen a while after we die. Like a year. Yeah, no matter how much time passes after we die, we won't be able to perceive it. Yep. For all we know, the world could be looping after billions of years with the end of the universe. I love where her head's at. It's not impossible, but I don't think it's quite that ridiculous. We know that someone is behind all this, and they're creating a loop to bring back the monster. That's why it's best to believe the loop happens once they fail to do that. That's true. That means that if they failed, they would loop back even if we were alive. You ever had that happen? You didn't even know if you were dead or not, but for some reason, you loop back? I did. When Kari-san went out of control and I happened to survive, I left by bus and... Same here. It happened when I tried to move to Fujiyoshi and the officer chased me out. Hell, the same happened when we tried to escape by bike recently. Oh, I forgot about that. Of course, it could be that we just crashed in the mists, but the memories aren't clear, and it's weird that we don't remember just this one thing. There must be another trigger to activate a loop. This is a dream, right? Whose is it? The sheep had told me that the opponent was a dream wielder. The culprit tries to make their plot come to fruition in the dream. And if they fail or die, they restart? That's a clue. Can we get out? It won't be that easy, huh? I fell silent, and after looking at the void before me, what do you want to do? Keep trying? Yeah, but I do want to try falling here at least once. You masochist. The memories of all the murders I committed are heavy, and I don't want to keep repeating this. Even if I can't forget it all, I need a bit of a change of pace. Crushing your skull for a change of pace, huh? What if you lose some important memories? I'm sure it'll be fine. The Haruaki-san and Chiemi I know can find things out just like your sudden realizations just fine. What if we forget that we know each other? That'd be good, actually. It'd be a chance for me to make a fresh start with you. This little masochist is pretty hung up on the idea of taking a dive in your embrace here. This might be my last chance for that. After all, I had rejected her. Having a taste of the sentimentality behind a couple's suicide and actually surviving is pretty insincere, but, pretty juicy, huh? I really like how your mind works in these situations. Really? You like it? I do. Do you love it? From the bottom of your heart? Right before I was about to talk, my mouth was closed shut. Her lips cut my words short. He did that eto. Shut up, brother. Get a grip, Haruaki-san. If we're gonna forget this, at least spoil me a bit. There was no guarantee we'd forget. Oh well. I love you, Chiemi. I love you too much. Man, that sounds like a lie. Sorry, I seem like a swindler. You really do. But I love you too, Haruaki-san. Then, yeah. With the hope of starting anew, forgetting all the nonsense, pain, hatred, and sadness, we innocently smiled at each other. And with shared hope, we jumped off the cliff. Key? Let's go. You obtained key number 3, Distant Light. Just like me, Chiemi also loops back in time whenever she dies, retaining her memories. Her heart has been wounded and twisted. She made me realize that the trigger for the loop isn't either of our deaths. In hindsight, there should be times I looped where my cause of death was vague. If I reconsider the conditions, I may yet catch a glimpse of the mastermind. Okay, so let's think, chat. Where was our death vague? Was it when we drove away from the police officer? More confirmation? Remember when Rikako was stabbed? You didn't die. No, Chiemi killed us after that, though. I'm pretty sure Chiemi killed us after that. Let's go to where Rikako killed us. If you're right about that, let's go to where Rikako killed us. That was loop 2. Oh. Wait, there's another key 20 here. Wait a minute. There's another key 20. What was this? 10, 11, 12. 10, 11, 12. This is where the cop killed us, right? No. No, this is who we wanted to. This is the loop we were the snake. Hold on now. All right, hold on. So there's a lot of key 20 ones, right? And it's probably who you end up running into. Because I think one of the key 20s was... Ooh. Okay, we need 3, 8, 19, and 20. We need to go get 8 and 19. This was... I remember this is what I was talking about. This is what I was looking for in the first reloop. Is when we could hide in the outhouse. In the first loop. I remember 20 was one of them. But we got 3. So I bet we got to go, like, investigate other shit. So I'm going to grab one of those other 20s. I'm going to grab the loop 220. And there's probably a loop 320 as well. And that'll get us 8 and 19 or whatever. Wait, which one was this? Oh, this was coming in through... Oh! Shit. Okay, this one needs 3 and 20. Do we do this one? Where was this? This was the one I remembered. Okay, hold on now. I'm going to BRB and use the bathroom just because I want to keep going and I'm going to need a break. So hold tight for like literally 1 minute. I will be right back. Let me just get you a little bit of music to pass the time. All right, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm going to go use the bathroom. All right, we're back. Hey. Stuff's getting crazy. Okay, so do we go here? It probably doesn't matter the order we go in. So do we go here? So there's like one that requires only 20, and this one requires 3 and 20. Maybe you want to check what you were talking about. Okay, so that was at the end of this loop, right? Get confirmation. Oh no. Wait. Okay, we already did this. Keep going. Investigation 2. Wait, we didn't do this. Oh, yeah, we did this. We died. I remember that. Declare my guardian. These were all deaths, we're pretty sure. Oh my god, there's so many branches. I think these were just us surviving deaths, and then this killed us both. So there was nothing down here, right? I think this is where we died to Rikako. Oh no, that was us winning. And then everything went crazy. But there, you didn't die. True! True, we didn't die there. Rikako died. The assumption was that Kinosuke killed us, but like, actually, did we die there? God damn it. Okay, so we gotta just go to something, right? So like, I wish you could scroll more quickly through this. So we gotta go to something. This was the whole fucking first loop was garbage. So we're gonna go into infiltration. No, that was not. Rikako took the stab for us in the other branch there. No. That was when she was hanged by Nosato after we solved the Chiemi Mochi loop. Like, we took the guns. Remember, like, we distracted them and they took the guns. So basically, on that left side of that tree was when Chiemi and Mochi took the guns and killed everybody. But we hid the bullets as one of the loops. That's the right side loop. We hid the bullets. And then we won that loop, but Nosato went crazy and killed everybody after we came back. And then in the first one is when Chiemi and Mochi killed everybody and Rikako took the stab for us. Okay, so we come in this way. Let's do this one. I remember this one. So this was with Hashimoto, right? Talk to Kinosuke. Oh no, this is in the first one. This is in the first, the second loop. Hashimoto already died? Question mark? No, this is the one where Hashimoto went out to take a piss and died. I think. At that moment, my head was flooded with information. Okay, we're back. Felt like my mind was crushed by a million sheep. Yup. Crap, why'd I forget? My memories carried over in a weird way because the method from back then was weird. Well, this wouldn't be my first time my memories didn't carry over properly. Maybe I should have counted myself lucky for remembering it all. I had tons of things to think about. About the beast in the village, giant monster, a dream enveloping Fujiyoshi. But this wasn't the time to worry about that. I went back to the Nosato mansion. Doorbell. Excuse me. Doorbell. Excuse me. Doorbell, doorbell, doorbell. Who's singing the Buddha's Ash Rock while hammering my doorbell? Me. You. Have you gone mad? What's wrong with you? You were a normal youth until just this moment ago. I'm perfectly sane. And you know that song? What about it? I simply remembered hearing it at the store. Huh. So you don't know the Hinja slaver? Well, I do. I knew it. Personally, I like Moraimon. What a minor Hinja. Black Dogeza is the way to go, starting with part 3. Oh, I really love the part where the 5 Black Dogezas gathered and became the Black Dogezarian. You're an otaku, huh? So are you. Wait, this isn't the time over to bond over minor Flash movies. You don't have any other business with me, do you? I'm busy here. I have something to tell you. I believe you are someone who would understand. What is it? I will say something absurd now. You might even doubt my sanity. Well, I'm not saying that you can't differentiate reality and fiction. In fact, you probably do it better than the average person. However, I do believe you have a decent ability to suspend your disbelief. Wait, what are you getting at? Do you know that movie where somebody is repeating the day before the school culture festival over and over and over again? Oh, that one? Yeah, it's a classic, sure. I know it. What about it? Something similar is happening to me right now. Wait. Mists will rise from the Saranaga in just a few hours. The Feast of the Yomi Purge will begin and many will die. Wait, why do you know that term? You will die too. Wait, answer my question. Stop saying such ridiculous things. I understand if you don't believe me. I've repeated these few days dozens of times now. And with every death, I loop back to square one. That is why I know a lot about Yasumizu, including things that no newcomer should even know about. You are a doctor of medicine, graduated from XX University, Chikamochi Kamoshida is your nephew, and you have feelings for Rikako Uematsu. However, I'm sure that that's not enough. I could have easily looked that up myself. And what's more, I didn't come to save you. It's likely that you'll die this time, too. But I would like to ask you some things, so I can prevent the feast from happening in another timeline. Are you serious? Yes. Why come to me? Through the many feasts I've been in, I've come to understand what kind of person you are. Your nature, basically. And I believe that you are a person who can understand things if they are explained properly. Come in. There. He let me into his well-furnished reception room. The inside was as fancy as the outside. The village heads had to be a really wealthy bunch. Is it that curious? He returned from the kitchen carrying a set of black tea. Sorry for staring. I think it's outdated too. Don't worry. Have some tea. Oh, no need to fuss over me. I'm of poor upbringing, so do tell me if I'm not drinking this right or something. I won't mind if you drink how you want. Thank you. Now, was this room prepared by the head of the family from 3 generations ago? Your great-grandfather? Where'd you hear about him? Even you are a, how do I put it, a looper. I do not believe a Nosato would tell you about the stain on the family name. Did another village head tell you about it? I don't know what he'd want, but he must be some sort of swindler. I was you. What? I heard from you. When your and Shikamochi Kamoshida's relationship became worse, you told him this. You're as much of a madman as your great-great-grandfather. He closed his eyes and groaned, and laid back on his sofa. I invited you inside out of mere curiosity. But if you know that much, I might even believe you. I need you to, though I don't have anything I would call evidence. Instead, I will tell you of the loops I've experienced. It will probably make it seem even more absurd, but I still want you to believe it. Enough with the build-up. Get to it. I drank the fragrant tea and spoke. About the time Yasunaga was a wolf. About the time Chemi tried to kill everyone, and the time she failed. And even how at the end of that timeline, Kinosuke had, for some reason, killed Rikako-san, and then I killed him. We didn't die. I killed him. Finally, I told him about the time I became a wolf and sacrificed my companions to win. Though, I kept quiet about the sheep and the giant monster for now. It was hard to think he was the main culprit behind the loop, but there was no guarantee that it wouldn't leak out somehow. Thus, I only told him that I was hanged because Mamiya-san found the flashlight. It also mentioned that Kinosuke died too, and that I'd heard of the thing about his great-grandfather then. After about an hour of talk, he stood up to get more tea. He poured it, and I gladly drank it. Unlike before, it was herb tea. Tired from talking, I let the pleasant scent of the tea wash away my fatigue and eyed him. He was hanging his head, looking down at the tea leaves floating in his tea. He then took the cup in his hand, drank some of it, and looked at me. You're right. That does sound absurd. However, it does seem like something that could happen in this absurd place. So you believe me? I'll simply say that I'm more interested in this than ever, but the more I listen, the more I wonder. What do you want of me? If you've seen so many feasts, surely you know by now. I am not a man who can do much in a dire situation. I'll start with something seemingly unrelated, but I don't quite understand that opinion of yours. At first, I thought you were just an arrogant and haughty person. Then I thought you were just a village head, antagonistic to Yasumizu. I would only say that you were just a bit uncomfortable with your hometown, and that you actually have a good discretion and talents. You do absurd things sometimes, but I do believe you look at your decisions from a third-person perspective. That makes me feel like you're hiding your true abilities. I honestly am nearly completely sure that the head families are involved in the feast. That's why I believe you might know something, but are hiding it. That's why I want you to tell me what you know about Yasumizu and Fujiyoshi's secrets. Though, as I mentioned before, there may be more delicate matters here, like the Uematsu family. Even so, I want to hear everything. I am bad at talking and leading simply because I am that kind of person. As you know, the current head of the family is my older brother. He's a great man of character with immense intelligence and charisma. I've been in his shadow ever since I was young. Whenever I said or did whatever I wanted, he would spin it in a way that was good for me. Because everything went so well with him, I began to believe I was blessed with great talent. I realized how mediocre I really was by the time I turned 20. I realized I was bad at reasoning and was generally a nuisance. That's why I left this village, though I couldn't find a place for myself outside either. The only place where I felt comfortable was the Sci-Fi Research Society. It was basically a hangout for gaudy people like myself. Even so, most of them were smart. Even the president, despite his many repeated years, had excellent leadership skills. I became the vice president, and whenever I'd say something too apprehensive, speculative, or scathing, he would turn it around for me. I know full well that I cannot lead. I imagine that the me you knew merely tried to be useful to Sir Makishima, Yasunaga Uribekune, or Muro. I probably couldn't abandon my pride even in that situation. A village head like me has to take charge and whatnot. That's so unreasonable. I truly am the problematic person. Is Nosato secretly a god? I don't know about that. Please don't be so hard on yourself. I can see pretty clearly that you're a level-headed person. And that's only because you said things so absurd that I felt like opening up to you. Remember how I was before I let you inside, a haughty, aggressive, boring man. Well, even if you're a liar and everything you said was made up, I'd consider this worth it for the moment of introspection. At least as long as you don't tell me to pay for your tuition or something. My heart ached a bit. I wouldn't say that, of course. But I was exposing the current him to danger. Now back on topic. About what you wanted to hear. Unfortunately, the family isn't that interested in me. You mean that? Yes. Though I do know the basics of what a village head should know, I know absolutely nothing about what they do behind the scenes. Though, do you know about the older hostilities between Yasumizu and Kami Fujiyoshi? No. Please tell me. Unfortunately, barely anyone knew about the village and the feast. Or rather, they all converged upon a certain old story. It was a minor bit of knowledge Kionosuke knew as a village head, and he said that Yasumizu had once rebelled against Kami Fujiyoshi. They didn't know what prompted it, but apparently it had something to do with the water used for growing crops. Anyway, the people of Yasumizu invaded Kami Fujiyoshi at night, and stole, beat, and killed people. They were all covered in Saranaga's mud to keep from being identified. Kami Fujiyoshi's inhabitants greatly feared their appearance. Thus, after the rebellion, they decided to make things even worse for Yasumizu, and the inhabitants effectively strangled themselves. Apparently. I believe the thing about Saranaga's mud is tied to Fujiyoshi's unique perspective on life and death, particularly the Yomi. So did the mud and the rebellion make Kami Fujiyoshi believe that the people of Yasumizu were Yomibito? That's not out of the question, but not a certainty either. Yasumizu and Kami Fujiyoshi had already been segregated, and it wasn't unlikely that there could be a rebellion. It was likely that the idea to cover themselves in mud was linked to the legend that Saranaga was Yomi, and intended to frighten people. I see. So, how should we look at this event? For one, it was the reason for the Shinai Festival, the mountain festival that's still held today. They have a tradition to hold a parade of wolves, and it symbolizes the subduement and bringing down of the people of Yasumizu. Hey, Mado. Have you seen the cloth masks they were wearing while farming? Yes. It's so that people of Yasumizu don't look into the eyes of the Yomibito. It's the other way around. It's so that the people of Kami Fujiyoshi wouldn't have to look into the eyes of the people of Yasumizu, who may or may not be Yomibito. These old, unreasonable superstitions are still alive because they crossed the line once. That's why the village heads believe. Saying it out loud, I realize how truly awful it is. Why is such a festival and tradition still alive to this day? That festival might actually be important for Yasumizu. Do you know why? No. The wolf parade passes all the Okiba in Yasumizu, splashes water on the residents, and meets the village representative in the hall. Tai-san, huh? The wolves would offer some things to the representative, and after thanking them for the festival's success, give them a lot of money and other goods. So they isolate Yasumizu economically and only pamper the place during the festivals. That's right. You might say that that's just another way Kami Fujiyoshi controls the Yasumizu. The money and goods are split among the inhabitants, and I hear it really helps them get by. This was only done out of fear that Yasumizu could rebel again. Just so you know, the Nosato don't approve of this. Only the Miguruma are fixated on it, and they're the top of Fujiyoshi. Though, the Higuchi are in on it too. They believe that trampling all over Yasumizu is the logical thing to do. With, what an incomprehensible bunch. So as far as you know, the Nosato don't approve of this tyranny. Yes, I can't deny that. As far as I know. I'm sorry, I need to make something clear. It confuses me. You said that the rebellion wasn't the result of superstition, but that means that it's not certain if the mountain festival was caused by the rebellion. Also, the festival and the feast are closely linked. You can even see it in the methods and the roles. Well, you mentioned that the divine sake was drunk at the feast as well. Are you sure it's not a coincidence? If they donate paper, writing tools, and rope, it would mean that at least the Miguruma know about what happens in the feast. Hell, at this point, I'm willing to say it's absolute certainty. The Feast of the Yomi Purge is a severe crime committed by the head families to intimidate and control Yasumizu. I have an argument. You said that the feast involves monsters, doors that unlock themselves, supernatural punishments. It is a paranormal event. If you are certain that the head families are responsible, I would like a scientific explanation for these strange events. Oh, that's easy. Before I get to that though, I would like to ask something. Can you show me the documents and writings collected in this mansion? I ended up being disappointed once. This house had a storage building, and there were archives there. There had been a lot of documents left by Kinosuke's great-grandfather, but they had been sorted after he died. Thus, there was barely anything left, and the record storage was more just general storage. Even so, I insisted on taking a look, and now, I was here. It really was just a place stuffed with various things. I guess there was no lie that this whole mansion really is just a place to stash things. Yes, but we do have people living here sometimes. Like who? The previous two heads of the family lived here after they retired. So your father, too. Yes. He quickly grew senile and died of poisoning. Is that true? When did that happen? 8 years ago. Oh? That's when the previous feast happened. What? Oh yes. It happened after the mist. There was a feast back then? Yes. The official report that people died in the landslide at your construction site must have been a cover for that. What are you saying? That my father knew something and died because of it? It's possible. And then there's the fact that this mansion was used as a retirement home of the previous Nosato heads. I think we might find something here. If the Nosato really are against the control structure in Fujiyoshi, then it's even more likely. Let's look. If there's still something here. It must be hidden. But this mansion is too large, and I don't even know what we will be looking for. I'm sure it must be something big. It has to be large enough for the previous heads to hide, write, and research. A secret room. I have a blueprint of the place. Found it, opened it, and we went around the mansion. There was nothing strange here. There were no empty spaces, and I didn't see any discrepancies with the actual building. Some went for the storage building. Same went for the storage building. Isn't this a waste of time? No. If the blueprint isn't a fake in any way, there must be something in a place it doesn't cover. What do you mean? Let's check the basement of the storage building. I see. If there's a secret room in the basement, it wouldn't affect the blueprints because it'd be outside their boundaries. Yes. The blueprint doesn't have to show false information. It just has to avoid showing it. But that will make the search even more difficult. Well, he was right that sifting through the mess would take forever. But we could make it a lot easier if we focused on the floor and the walls. I'd left my bag in the prefab, so I had no flashlight. I asked Nosato-san for something, and he prepared an aged oil lamp. Wow, you have all sorts of things laying around, huh? There's probably a flashlight somewhere, but this suits the atmosphere, right? I know exactly what he meant. It took us less than half an hour to find it. Of course, it wasn't something that looked like what we were searching for at first glance, but it did seem a bit unnatural. There's a palm-sized crow carved in a wooden surface below the mortar wall. Oh, you can see it down there by the skip. There's a symbol of the Nosato family. Is it a clue? Or some sort of mechanism? It's not just a carving. Its parts are separate and movable. Buttons. So it's like a game. So he wasn't the only Nosato with strange hobbies, huh? I imagine expect you to press them in order, but do you know any hints? He's gonna one-shot this shit. Yep, the will of the crow. The beak. Yep. That had to be it. So a Nosato can open it easily then. Yes, we never repeat that teaching to anyone who isn't family. It was made by my great-grandfather. Then it must be a trap, too. Seriously? But it's no problem for you, right? What was it again? Claw? Feather? Oh no, I'm not sure. Do you remember it? Ah. Can I BRB? Okay, hold on. It's... What if I just go to youtube.com/RyerOnStream and pull up the last VOD so I can see what he said? It was... Time to loop! Can I come back to here? Okay, check this shit. Where did he talk about this? He talked about this at the end of here, right? Like, right before Nosato was hanged. Oh god, there's another one here. It was when Nosato died. So that was like pretty deep into here. Death food. Feast 3-5. Noble sacrifice. That's Haru, right? No. Final night chat. Smile. Despair. Okay, I mean, we know that. Okay, so it's somewhere around here. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Nailed it. Kinosuke-shi's quiet, sad voice drew everyone's attention. Yep, okay. I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to wait till we get to it. Claws, eyes, tongue. Claws, eyes, tongue. Okay. Oh my god, where is it? Oh my god, I'm lost. Was it this loop? Oh my god. Was it here? Select trap? No. Or was it? No, because the feast already started. It is wolf loop pre-feast. Okay. So it's this. Okay, perfect. Claws, eyes, tongue. Nailed it. Devour the claw, eye, and beak. Let's try it. Quickly press the buttons as I told him. A moment later, a part of the wall turned 90 degrees. It opened up a space through which an adult, though probably not Hashimoto, could pass. It's kind of like this thing, I assumed. Oh, how embarrassing. But I can't help but feel excited myself. It must be in my blood. Don't worry, I feel you. We bantered nonchalantly, despite the dire situation. Hi, Red Creeper. Good evening. Once we made it inside, we had to pass through some hanging dried herbs. What's this, St. John's wort? Oh, they're like all in trying to keep away these werewolves. Aren't you knowledgeable? It's just some herbs to repel bugs. Don't mind it. And it seems you were right. It's a study. It's tight in here, but the length is good. Let's see what we can find. I hope we have records made by the previous heads. I found a diary. Already? Let me look. Ooh, they studying. We started looking around. Like we expected, a thick diary had writings left by all the previous heads of the Nosato family. It began with his great-grandfather, and the others added more after their retirements. Interesting. All of them had strange handwriting, and according to what Kionosuke could make out, it was a highly detailed document and had references to other texts. You could really tell it belonged to a family of scholars. The index on the diary referenced documents from all over the room, and the diary itself was like a description of what went on behind the scenes in Fujiyoshi. Pog. Kinosuke's great-grandfather was a genius who gathered intense wealth, but also a madman who threw it all away. His writings were especially difficult to read, analyze, and understand. However, the feeling behind it couldn't be more obvious. It was anguish. Anguish at the fact that he'd found a rational solution and began to doubt the superstitions. The preamble went like this. Why do we submit to Great Lord Shinai? Outsiders would see their beliefs as pure madness. Even so, we take the passion we should direct to our parents and children and instead dedicate it to our faith. That alone would not mean much, but when you see the shadow of Great Lord Shinai over our daily lives, we become fearful and absolutely loyal to him, like well-trained dogs. This slavery of the mind will still shackle us when the era of enlightenment reaches our home. That is why I have decided to take up the will of the crow, so I so neglected and began my research. I hope that it bears fruit and mankind, not God, benefits from it, breaking free of the centuries of ignorance. This was written by Kionosuke's great-grandfather shortly after his role as head was passed down, when he was still in his healthy 40s. Upon reading this, Kionosuke looked conflicted. The great-grandfather he thought was a madman was actually both reasonable and intelligent. I also had something to think about it. He'd challenged God. That absurd endeavor might have been the reason why he'd gone mad. The diary had 3 sections. In the first one, the great-grandfather tried to pinpoint the origin of Fujiyoshi. He wanted to find the invisible chains binding him by looking at where they started and where they were going. However, that was difficult. Trying to find documents in Fujiyoshi would have attracted the attention of the other families, particularly the Miguruma, who would then obstruct his work. Our legends say that we were protected by Shinai-sama, but looking for proof claiming otherwise, we would be betraying his compassion, and that was the height of disrespect. It was also a time when not everyone went to school, and literacy levels were really low. Thus, most of the records were held by the head families. However, there was no record of one of them trying to check another family's records, and that would obviously be met with opposition. Thus, he looked at the historical documents from outside Fujiyoshi. With the settlement being such a strange place, he figured that there would be many records about it, made by outsiders. He was completely right. There were lots of old writings in the nearby villages and towns. Since it was wartime and the economy was dire, the paper was about to be wasted on fixing sliding. He used his own funds to acquire these precious documents. They were now organized and placed somewhere in the room, but anyway, he was able to locate Fujiyoshi's roots. It happened 600 years ago during the Muromachi period, a bit before the Sengoku. According to the documents, the place known as Kami Fujiyoshi began as a hunter settlement. This place was a hunting ground for centuries. Game meat had only spread among the common people during the Meiji period, but the country's folks had been eating it for long before that. At first, it was just a settlement of cabins for the hunters from nearby villages to rest or shelter, and places to skin and prepare the meat. But once the people realized how rich the area was in game, they began colonizing the place. As a result, a part of Kami Fujiyoshi was born, and the people began living here as either farmers or hunters. The settlement had no name yet. However, these extremely old documents referred to as Okami Village or something similar. Not Okami Village, as in Okami-sama, though, but Okami as in wolves, the canine beast. Apparently, this place really had wolves before. Not mountain dogs or badgers, but real wolves. That was no secret, though. The Shinai Shrine ran by the Miguruma had actual wolf bones in it. However, according to the documents, during the settlement's development, the place was often attacked by wolves that caused major damage. They'd probably tried many things to deal with them, but the documents wrote down one very simple method. The people of a wolf village prepared a human sacrifice and consigned them to the flame. Wow. Human sacrifice. It was a practice that had existed in Japan for a long time. During construction or whatnot, people would be killed and buried as offerings to prevent misfortune. I'd heard of human sacrifices made to prevent bridges being taken away by floods, or people buried during castle fortifications. It was a pretty big deal. Still, it wasn't weird to do it to prevent a beast-related problem. It did seem like a plausible story, so I wasn't really surprised. Neither of us were specialists, but from what I know, people tried to benefit from sacrifices by later on worshipping them as gods. I'd even heard that pillar, kanji, used to count gods, was based on the term for human sacrifice. Anyway, following the sacrifice, the beast attack subsided and the settlement continued to grow. At this point, the upper settlement, once known as Okami Village, now Kami Fujiyoshi, was surrounded by cabins and other settlements. Through irrigation, these settlements gathered water from the wolf village. One of these settlements was a dangerous place that was often covered in mist and led people to their deaths, and for that reason, the locals found it really important. Kyonosuke, his great-grandfather, and myself figured that it had to be Yasumizu, obviously. And if they took water from Kami Fujiyoshi, it wasn't hard to imagine that the hierarchical relationship between the settlements had already existed then. In agricultural societies, the settlement that controlled the supply of water were extremely influential. After all, if they stopped the flow, the settlements below would dry out. It was even related to the Yasumizu rebellion that Kyonosuke had told me about. I couldn't ignore this point. Though, there was no mention of Yasumizu or the local superstitions yet. At that, all the documents said was that the wolf village was steadily progressing as a settlement. However, there was a mention of a fearsome beast yokai, or god, that ate people. Though it was only mentioned in the oldest documents, then never heard from again. A god, a powerless god. That's not enough. The legends don't say anything about... Wait. The Badger. Do you hate that name? Not at all. It is not wrong in the least. It's a fitting name for someone wearing the marks of Great Lord Shinai and acting as leader of these mutts. Ah. So is this god the Badger? It had to be God. She said that she was defeated by Great Lord Shinai, but never mentioned when it happened. Oh, yep. Yep. This whole lore about old kanji. I was close to the truth, but for now, back to history. Fujiyoshi had started out as a typical hunting farming settlement. Things changed after about a century, when life in the settlement had stabilized. By this point, the records left by the outsiders were started nothing. Wait, by this point, the records left by the outsiders started nothing that there was a strange village in the mountains. I think this should say stated. The sources had started to become many and varied, too. I was curious about how the great-grandfather got documents from Kyoto and Tohoku. Oh, started noting, instead of stated nothing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was my bad. But anyways, these reports were records written by travelers who had stopped here. Many of them were interested in the local customs. One was their hate for the mountain fires. It was so bad that the outsiders weren't allowed to make any flames, and that they themselves had a special watering hole where they did it. One was their worship of a humanoid's wolf statue. They asked it for good fortune on the hunt and peaceful life in the mountains. Nuding? Nunting? One was the special misty place where travelers were summoned and welcomed by sensual women. Some rumors mentioned seemed Norning? Some rumors mentioned seemed hardly believable, but some of them were still alive, and I was surprised to know how old they were. What bothered me was the fact that there were many records of the invitations to the Misty Place, but nothing about getting killed there. In fact, most of them mentioned eating good meat and veggies, and drinking good sake, while having fun with beautiful girls. It was safe to assume that the Feast of the Yomi Purge hadn't existed back then. It was closer to the traditional treatment of guests as described by Rikako-san. By the way, you seem pretty hung up on guests. Yes, Fujiyoshi was once full of visitors. Hunters from the outside were considered honored guests. However, there was one thing she seemed to be wrong about. The strange village in the records was a completely different place than the one built around the Shinai Shrine that she spoke of. In fact, there wasn't a single mention of Shinai at that point. In general, the area here was marked as Kachihara. Would things change if we continued further? Anyways, we kept reading. Such records continued for 2 or 3 decades, but then there was a period that wasn't recorded at all. Apparently, the travelers who had made their way to the area started being chased out, and that was that. The settlement suddenly became isolated. Without any documents from the village itself, it was hard to know exactly what had happened during this time. But according to the Nosato documents, this time period was how far they could trace their lineage back. After that, the settlement showed up in records another century later. It was the middle of the Edo period, peaceful times, and the amount of records appeared to have exploded, along with the name Shinai. There is a hidden mountain where the people worship a wolf-faced god and prosper because of it. It is said that the hunters who do not pay respects to him get lost or injured in the mountains. It is a spiritual place that a mountain ascetic should visit at least once. Their prayers seem to heal all. There are oracles who can predict the future with great accuracy. The non-believers who step on the mountain are in for a terrible fate. The name of the god they worship is Shinai, and the village is called Fushiyoshi. Fushiyoshi. So that's it. I lurched forward and shouted with excitement. True, I did hear this village was once called Fushiyoshi, but what's so important about that? It's the same trick with the name Shinai-san. When you take apart the kanji, you can rearrange them into okami, which is phonetically identical to wolf. Oh, you're right. Well, then you mean this is the same? Look at the name Fushiyoshi. The first kanji contains the radical for dog. Dog covers the animal radical that's used on the left of kanji. Keeping that in mind, if you line up with Yoshi of Fushiyoshi to get Fushiyoshi, you'd get person, dog, and good. And then by combining the latter 2 kanji into one and putting the whole thing together, you got Hitokami, or werewolf. 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 Hitokami. Does that refer to the Okami-sama? To Great Lord Shinai? The two of them are essentially the same. One takes the form of the peaceful god Shinai, while the other takes the form of the resentful Okami-sama. They both take the shape of 3 werewolves, but do different things. I really can't blame people for seeing them as the same. Let's not forget that we have documents saying that there was a culture here that worshipped werewolves, at least a century ago. They probably had some beast attacks, started holding human sacrifices, and built a primitive faith around werewolves. And as time passed, that evolved into Shinai-sama. Okami-sama is a divinity born during one of these stages, and to the people of that era, they were the same thing. The villagers of Fushiyoshi were fully aware of their religion's peculiarities, and even hid that in their own village's name. Well, why hide it in the first place? I'm sure we'll find more hints up ahead. You're right, let's move on. We are not going to move on, though. This is where I have to stop. I gotta get some shut-eye. So, interesting stuff happening. Okay, let's get out of here. And let's go to here. And here. All right, good session. No dropped frames, love to see it. Thank you everyone for hanging out. It was super fun. Really interesting. We're in like a lore dump phenomenon. Just a couple announcements before I wrap up. First thing is this week's schedule. As always, you can find this on my Twitter as well. But next stream is Friday. I'm gonna be playing DNF Duel. I'm entering Serena Penguina's tournament. at 8 o'clock. So I'll probably be playing a little bit before then. Saturday, we're going to be finishing Raging Loop, I hope. Actually, it's Saturday. I'll just go until we're done. No cap. No cap, no bap. I'll just go until we're done on Saturday. It might be a 7-hour stream. It might be an 8-hour stream. We're just going to go till we're done. And then Sunday, I'm going to play some Strive. Let's see. Monday is the 4th of July. I'm off work, so I might do an earlier stream. We'll see what's happening. But I haven't really scheduled for that yet. And then a couple teaser announcements. There's some big stuff coming to the channel. Look out for it. There's some big stuff coming to the channel. One of the date, ready for the 12-hour Raging Luke stream? True. One thing that is coming to the channel, it's going to be really big. I don't want to spoil it, but keep an eye on my Twitter. Announcements are going to come in pieces for that. And the important date there is July 23rd. So less than a month away, but if everything works out, that big announcement leading up to July 23rd. The other big announcement is probably sooner. But yeah, keep an eye on the Twitter for all those coming announcements. I can only tease them for now because they are not official. And then when we don't finish, we'll loop the schedule again. Yeah, Raging Loop is lasting forever. But it's all good. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It was a ton of fun. I like that the new net is working out. I hope the schedule can remain consistent. And I will see you all on Friday for DNF Duel. Bye, y'all.